Hello, hello. All right, good morning. Good morning. La 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 la. Ah. Ooh, 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 ooh. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. All right, chat says, has anyone said Brittany a video on Taylor and Catch $620 million video? It's a Taylor Lorenz video. I actually just resubscribed to Taylor Lorenz because I was a little annoyed with her. I was a little annoyed with Taylor. So I was like, ugh. And then I fell off Taylor and then I got back on yesterday. I subscribed. So maybe I'll see that video. I'm not sure what it's about. You know, we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Like, I think the thing that everyone has to remember, myself included, is like no one is entitled to watching a YouTuber or a content creator, especially since it does end up building like so much like, I don't know, like blinded loyalty or something. We're going to talk about the Met Gala today. And I also just want to remind you that these are just people. Even though everybody knows who Beyonce is, she is just still just like a person. You know, she deserves her flowers, but she's still just a person, right? Like Taylor Lorenz, and we're gonna talk about FD, we're talking about me and a lot of people. Like, we're just people. Hassan is just people. Like, again, we forget how easy it is to be susceptible to platforming or not platforming, but like pedestaling creators, right? And this reminds me so much of the Met Gala problem, because as I see the Met Gala, and look, from a fashion perspective, love me a Met Gala. From a principled perspective, gross. And I do not usually consume it every year. We're just covering it today because it's my job. I actually, as a private citizen, do not pay attention to the Met Gala, mostly as a form of personal protest. Because, you know, as much as I love the aesthetics of it, I just think it's so grossly like gluttonous. And so I just like think it's, you know, I just think it's gross. But I will say, whether or not it's for the arts or whatever, because I know everyone's like, it's for the arts. Okay, well, your mom is for the arts and she doesn't need to be all over my TV screen, okay? So there just needs to be something there. But I will say, keep that in mind, right? That the world is a reflection of us as a whole. Like, it can't be this way unless we make it this way. And I do think we make it this way, right? Jesus, my allergies is, I think I've sneezed every day on stream this week. Oh, my allergies have been crazy. So I just want you to keep that in mind. And look, there's nothing wrong with admiring someone's work. And I just think that the world is the way it is because, you know, we are the way that we are. And that includes like having cliques and hierarchies and, you know, all these other layers. Tristan, welcome to memberships. If you guys are members tier 2, so tier 1 members get Monday live streams and tier 2 members get behind the scenes content, extra content. I just shared what I ate last week and how I spent my €50 a week budget on what I ate last week. Even though I actually came under budget, I fed myself really good last week. This week, I've been really enjoying. This week, I've switched it up. So last week was like soups, cabbage soups, some tofu, spaghetti. What else was I eating last week? Whatever else I was eating. This week is asparagus, potatoes, chickpeas, some spaghetti, of course, and broccoli. I bought broccoli. So big change up this week. Very exciting stuff. Okay, let's start with a couple of short stories. We'll get into the longer ones as we continue forward. Check this out. And that Taylor Lorenz video chat, like if I come across it, I'll let you know. Is there something about it you want me to check out or something? It was a cat on Taylor's channel covering that topic. Let's see. Did I miss? Is there something that's good? Like, is it something specific? I just haven't seen it, so I don't know what it's about. Correlation to the 62 million men. Oh, is it about the website? Okay, I'll check it out. We've reviewed, you remember Valeria Lipovatsky? We reviewed her. She's the one in the age gap relationship with the husband. And anyway, she's an influencer. And I saw this TikTok. It's not about her specifically. It's about her, but it's about a new trend that's coming up. And I want you to see this. Check this out.
Is getting your nails done becoming low status? The influencer Valeria Lipovetsky posted this video which went viral where she said she's no longer getting her nails done. And this prompted an outpouring from other successful women saying the same thing. Their time is too valuable to waste hours going to the salon every 3 weeks. This is textbook counter-signaling. When the status symbol becomes common, the people at the top opt out to show they don't need it. The same thing happened with designer logos and using fake tan. And now it's happening with manicures. Marc Jacobs just sent every model down the runway with bare nails, supposedly prompting a new manicure trend. And Kathy Karuga wrote this viral Substack about the difference between influencer codes and fashion people codes. Influencers never miss their nail appointment. Fashion people just keep them short and bare. The premise is that bare nails actually signals status because they're harder to pull off. We all know a gel nail can hide a multitude of sins. So now the bigger flex is becoming simply not needing one. It's getting
Okay, so I actually think this is such an important thing to keep in mind. So summer's around the corner, and I want you to understand that everything you're about to see on your feed, if you're not already seeing it, though you probably are, is going to be that you're too fat, that you're too scarred, that you're too ugly, that you should hide yourself, that you shouldn't go to the beach or enjoy the summer, that your skin isn't pretty enough, that you're too, dry, that blah, 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 blah. Everything you're going to see on your feed is going to make you feel fucking ugly. So you need to meditate and deconstruct beauty standards and remind yourself that fun is for everybody and there's no moral value in beauty. But I will say that if you also are a person who would like to be well-groomed and beautiful, okay, that comes in all shapes and sizes. But I will say my feed is full of basically like eating disorder propaganda. And I'm like, yo. This Met Gala was not an exception. The Met Gala was like, who could look skinnier? And I was like, okay, pause. Okay. So I need everyone to lock in and recalibrate their joy and understand that like where you are on your journey is okay. You are not to be shamed for your body, that your body is beautiful and all that. Like refresh yourself on body positivity, body neutrality, because you're going to need it this summer. Okay. So skinny is back. Nails are out. Clean is in. You know what else is going to be very in, I think, is just like this idea that like I didn't try too hard and I'm just naturally pretty. Okay. That's how I feel about that. Okay. So don't, because it will drive you crazy. As a girly who's on camera, trust me, as a girly who gets memes made about her looks, as a girly who literally is told like, oh, you're ugly, listen to me when I say this. It's not like I don't have the thoughts too, like, oh my God, I'm not ugly, I'm just poor, la, la, la. But the point is that, they are going to try to mute you in the same way that they take old, beautiful homes and turn them into modern pieces of like sterilization, which sometimes looks good, I will admit, often just feels like dead inside. They want that. And it will be the new thing. And I'm telling you, let them have their trend. Know yourself and know that you are more than a trend. Okay? Know your sense of self and know that you cannot be replaced every 3 to 6 months when people decide that it's not in anymore. Okay? So just keep being you. Even if the world changes, remember it's for capitalism. Remember it's for status. If you're not playing the status game, don't worry about it. Okay? If you are in if you are in a job in which they will require you to pay attention to the trends, fine. But most of us are not doing that. I'm not doing that. Like my job does not require me to pay attention to trends. Okay? So I don't have to worry about it. But trends are a way to signal, okay? In group, out group, safe group, unsafe group. It's why like I always try to pay attention to what I look like in the sense that I just want to signal the right people into my community. And I will say, I just talked to my partner about this morning. This is the longest I've ever gone in my whole life without buying new clothes or new makeup or new accessories. I am so diligently focused because by the end of this year, I will be able to like put some fun money aside to do those things. But this like combating overconsumption, like guys, I don't think I've ever, back in the day, I don't even think I went 2 weeks without buying something new. Literally. And I used to pride myself in collections because I was like, look, I'm collecting all these great things. But then I had to give it all away when I moved to Europe because I couldn't afford to take it with me. And so that's why I warn you, until you have like a very confident, permanent place, if that even makes sense, I will never build collections again. I will never collect books or clothes or anything else because it was thousands of dollars to move it over and I couldn't afford it. So I had to give all my stuff away, including like my paintings, you know, like this painting here. This painting here, I had to take off the canvas. I had to take off the wood, the frame. I had to fold it and put it in my luggage. Otherwise, they wanted to charge me in frame like $3,000 to ship it, or in a rolled up this, you know, the rolled up case like this. They wanted to charge me over $1,000. And I was like, excuse me? And I had 4 of them. So I had to take all 4 because I refused to give up my art. I gave up my clothes instead. See, priorities. Those are my priorities. Because I can't replace these paintings. I can replace clothes. I can't replace these paintings, okay? I took the paintings down and I rolled them up and I brought them with me in my luggage. So, you know, every time I think about, you know, priorities or what I'm investing in, trends are not investments in, it's not a collection. That's why, and I'm going to sound so judgmental right now, but I really just, I'm going to say it, okay? I really think people who buy a house and then are able to decorate it within like 3 months, like, did you even, you know what I mean? Like, what are you even buying? People who are like, look, I have a collection of anime toys that you bought in the span of 6 months. That's not a collection, Habibi. That's a splurge. Like, you didn't collect anything. You just bought a bunch of stuff. And for me, like, a collection is something that is, takes over, like, it's about something more than just showing off or having. It's a little bit more than that. And that's to say that at the end of the day, they are just stuff and you can get rid of it. But do not spend $50,000 on a collection and you don't have a place to live. Okay, Sarah Jessica Parker, Carrie, and Sex and the City. That was the lady who lives in the shoe episode where her house was, or the apartment she was renting was going to be sold into units. And she didn't have money to buy the apartment, but she had like $30,000 worth of shoes. And she was like, oh no, like I have $30,000 worth of shoes and no house. And she's like, I'm literally the woman who lives in a shoe. And I'm like, yeah, like, and I know it's hard because the criticism is there. Like the obvious is there. Like, trust me, you think I don't feel it every day when I'm like, my hair is not done. I'm wearing the same clothes every day. Like it can weigh on you too. Like, damn, like you think I don't want new things? I want new things all the time. The issue is I cannot buy new things and do this other thing over here yet, because I don't make that kind of money, okay? But if I made that kind of money, once I have the kind of money, you know I'm going to go local, shop local. And 2, I'm really hoping to find some cool boutiques in Croatia. It's really hard to find ethically sourced fashion. So my goal is just going to be buy local and buy quality and hope for the best. But like, you think I don't want to do that? Of course I do. And also, I cannot do that and actually like save money. And it is working, by the way. Like I shared this on the video for the food budget. Like it's working. We're attaining goals, like staying within budget. Hey, who knew, guys? 2 + 2 is 4. Like it works. And so, you know, I'm not going to save my way into buying a house, not drinking coffee every day, but I am going to save my way into having a 6-month emergency fund. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, $3,000 a year on coffee or $3,000 a year on an emergency fund. Like, yeah, like that's it right there. And yes, I will be, Chad mentioned secondhand. I already know where all the thrift shops are. So we're going straight there when I have a chance, you know? And so eventually we will have a bigger budget for fun money in which we'll go to buy new clothes. We're just not there yet. But it is one of those things where I understand the trend right now is going to switch. And you're going to feel like I have to be a part of it or I'm going to be left out. You don't have to be a part of anything. You have to be focused on your goals because the world is busy doing its own thing. So don't freak out if there's a new status symbol. Don't freak out if there's a new nail trend. Don't freak out if you don't have the latest bag. Focus more on your joy. And I'm telling you right now, your joy is not going to be dictated on getting your nails done or a bag or whatever else. So just seeing this video made me go, uh-oh, I saw it and I thought I got to say something because I just know like my Instagram feed, my TikTok feed is just, it's very like unnecessarily skinny. And I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? Like, why? And I'm not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's very, and I feel for all the girlies who are suffering because I know that that it looks good to you. And I don't blame you. You're not at fault for finding it pretty. I think I just don't want you to internalize it as like you are less. Okay? Because I see it everywhere. I see it's so loud. It's so loud. And everyone keeps saying, "Oh, we fell off fat acceptance." Or I guess we don't like fat people anymore. And I'm just like, you never like fat people, so don't even fuck with me. But also like it's going to get rough this summer, I think. So just take a deep breath and know that you're valuable in whatever form that you exist in. Okay. With that said, oh, Discord shared the video from Taylor Lorenz debunking CNN's viral 62 million men hoax. Oh no. Far right propaganda. Oh, is she going to piss me off, bro? Or is she not going to piss me off? Is she going to piss me off with this video? Is she going to make me unsubscribe again? Wait, that title makes it sound like she's upset with the 62 million number. She better not piss me off, bro. I'm so sick of people. Okay, no, I'll talk about that tomorrow. I have to confirm first. Okay, I'll check the video. I have to confirm this first, but like I am really sick of people just like downplaying the seriousness of, but you know what? Okay, never mind. I'll look at it. We'll check it out. Maybe we can watch it tomorrow. Okay, now let me show you this. Can you keep up? Okay, so do you guys know Zach? This is Zach. Okay, check this out.
I really can't wrap my mind around the fact that there are some men out there who actually think that it is normal and okay to expect their girl, whether that's a girlfriend or wife or whatever woman you're in a committed relationship with, to pay for anything. That quite literally goes against your biology. If you are a man and you're in a relationship with a woman, your instinct should be telling you to provide for that woman. I literally just saw a TikTok of this guy basically addressing couples who live together, whether you're married or not, and asking, how do you split the bills? Like, split? Now, maybe this is just the way I was raised, but I have always had a strong sense of certain gender roles need to apply for things to run smoothly and for both people to be happy in a relationship. And one of those is just that men need to provide. It's kind of funny because a lot of times people look at me and like to call me effeminate, but what I'm going to tell you is probably the biggest feminine energy of all is being a man and expecting your girl to split the bill on anything. I have always made sure that my wife does not need to work. If she wanted to ever work for whatever reason to fulfill something herself, she of course is free to do so. However, it is never her responsibility to worry about paying for anything. Even when we were dating, I would not even let her buy me an ice cream cone. And honestly, the fact that that is like shocking for a lot of people to hear in this day and age is, I think, why so many relationships don't last.
Bro, are you grifting right now in front of my face, Zach? Sir, stick to extensions, sir. So this is Zach and his wife.
Very dark brunette. So this is how I make my wife blonde without using any bleach, even though she's naturally
a very dark brunette. That's what he does.
So here is Lauren and I on our wedding day. You can see her hair is naturally very dark. That's her natural color. Here, shortly after we got married, I started kind of highlighting her, but she's been blonde for about the last 12 years, and I do not use any bleach on her. I use High Lift Color, so that's Colostone Perfect by Wella in the shade 12 Stroke 81.
I'm skipping.
So it's
skipping.
Regular maintenance, like I said, you never...
Like, okay, he has interesting hair videos. Like, this is one of his most famous ones. Hello?
But $8,400 worth of hair extensions looks like, y'all. Here we have 450 grams of luster lengths wefts. And here is my client's hair before, and today we are going to be installing these and turning her into Rapunzel. So this hair is 30 inches long, and like I mentioned, it's 450 grams. This client likes to wear a lot of hair, so
we went
from, length that was just a little bit below her.
Okay, I like hair videos. I love hair TikTok. Okay, I'm always looking at hair videos. I'm always searching for the perfect hair, style to take to a hairstylist here. Like, I'm obsessed with hairstylists. Okay, I would say that the thing that I find the most ironic sort of about Zach's post is sort of this pattern that I've been seeing with this sort of like conservative-esque grift thing that's happening. Okay, where a bunch of people that generally looking at them are defying expectations. He's defying gender expectations with the way that he looks, right? And so the question is how do you find yourself defying gender expectations and norms and then falling into traditional relationship structures, right? For him to say like, oh, it's biological for men to provide, that is a right-wing talking point, which makes me wonder, like, is this your new grift? Like, he's always been a centrist. Don't get me wrong. He is not a leftist, right? He's always been a centrist. He's always been that guy. He's always been on the line. He's never been very like, from everything I've seen, maybe I don't know the lore as deep as some other people because I don't watch him that much, but I've always kind of read him as like a centristy kind of guy. But when I saw that TikTok, this TikTok came to mind, and Devil Wears Prada 2 is coming out, so people are making a bunch of content, and this one came across my feed yesterday.
All this already. Where are the other tops for this fit? Why is no one ready?
Here. It's a tough call. They're so different.
Something funny?
No, nothing's. Like, both of the shirts look exactly the same to me, and it's always the same thing: bathroom, sports, hormones. I'm just learning this gender stuff and.
This gender stuff. Oh, I see. You don't think this has anything to do with you. You go on your little vacations to Fire Island or Puerto Vallarta and you select, I don't know, some gender-bending bikini top to show off the muscles you got on T and to prove to the world that you're this liberated gay with marriage and rights, and none of this transgender stuff has anything to do with you. But what you don't realize is that this gender stuff is not just bathrooms or hormones or sports. It's actually a tax on all of us. You're so blithely unaware of the fact that in 2015, after losing on marriage equality, the conservatives set their sights on trans people. It was North Carolina that first pushed the bathroom ban. Then, last summer, the Supreme Court. It was the Scimetti case, wasn't it? That first came for trans kids' health care. I think we need a jacket here. And then restrictive gender laws showed up in legislatures of over 27 different states. And you stood by and called it complicated. The millions of dollars and countless jobs created for marriage equality are nowhere to be found in the fight for trans rights. But your conscience wiped clean because of the occasional $50 donation to a doll's GoFundMe. It's sort of comical how you think that you've built a life that makes you exempt from the attacks, when in fact, your very own gay rights were secured by trans people on the front lines, like the ones in this very room, by paying attention to this gender stuff.
And this plays into, with Jeffrey's grift, Jeffree Star's being like, 2 genders. There's only 2 genders, as if Jeffree Star hasn't absolutely benefited. Jeffree Star has benefited for years on trans people being an alien, identifying as whatever, so here he is now.
Other bullshit, I think.
What other bullshit?
The they and them.
Yeah.
And all that extra shit that we added during the pandemic because everyone was so bored on their fucking houses. They just started to make up more shit and more shit.
More stuff.
Yeah. That's where
You know what I mean? Like, so now the grift is, right, I'm a man. Like, I might be a feminine man, but I'm a man. And I'm like, girl, sit down. And like, that's always been a part of the conservative grift. But I do think that it is so deeply malicious. Somebody so innocently, so good faith commented on my When You're Gay But Not Queer video on my Bert Simon channel. And they said, oh my God, Leo Skepi needs to watch this video because like, I don't think he knows the stuff about Charlie Kirk. I was like, oh, Habibi, he knows. The man is reading the Bible and questioning his homosexuality. It's a grift. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm saying. To see Zach get up here and spend his limited time on earth talking about the fucking, you know what I mean? Like being a man. And I'm like, girly, go play with your fish.
Let's feed my koi fish their lunch.
Girly, you know what I'm saying? The straights, the conservatives, they do not like you.
This is my beautiful wife, Lauren, and today I'm going to be taking her hair super duper white.
Look, even the fact that you have a wife and you are that femme, like people will make fun of you. People think you're in a lavender marriage. People are questioning his marriage. And like, look, I don't do that. Like if people, first of all marriage is marriage, even if it's lavender. Do you know what I'm saying? Like companionship is companionship, regardless of people's orientations. This is what I'm saying. Deconstruct this even idea of fake marriage. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like if you're marrying somebody to help them, like that's a marriage. The fact that like people can't just get married to help their best boys, you know what I'm saying? Like we need to deconstruct marriage as a contract, even a legal one, right? So, but like the fact that people are questioning his marriage and then he has the audacity to talk about provider genetics.
Platinum. Lauren is a natural level 3, so she's very, very dark naturally. And I've toned her hair.
And look, I love the way that he like spoils her and all that other stuff, but the comments are the most insane part. Hold on, let me show you this. Let's go back to this video. Let me bring it up for you.
I really can't wrap my mind around the fact.
Okay, look at this. These comments on his video, girls. My ex-husband still pays my bills. Habibi, is this a brag? Okay, as a mother of 5 sons, I would never allow my sons to not pay all of the bills. Okay, his money is our money, and if I work, that's my money. Haha. May your hair always lift to a nice level 10. I can't imagine my husband ever asking me to pay for anything, although I do have stuff of my own that I do pay for because I want to, but he never asks me to pay for anything. You can have a podcast. You know what I mean? Like, okay, this is interesting. We're in our early 20s and in this economy, we can't. He's working to get us to the point where he can pay all of our bills. But at this moment, this isn't going to happen. I knew you were a king. This is why you're so handsome. You know what I mean? Like, can you explain this to my boyfriend for me? It's like, girlies, are you in a relationship with a person or a wallet? You know what I mean? Because look, at the end of the day, what he is saying with this message is that my marriage doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Chet said, but I thought you also said that couples that have traditional gender roles in their relationships can be happy and healthy, like your parents. I remember you saying that they are pretty healthy. Okay. How do I explain this to you? Hold on. How do I even explain this to you? Hold on. My brain is like malfunctioning because I'm like, my parents have a healthy relationship for the standard of relationship that they have. Meaning, if I had my parents' relationship, it would be abusive and unhealthy. But because they're in their relationship and they're in love and they believe in Jesus and they believe in traditional relationships, and because they have their beliefs and live within those beliefs, it's healthy. But if my mom believes something else or my dad believes something else and it changed, it would be unhealthy. Their relationship also exists while throwing minorities under the bus because they play into gendered stereotypes and expectations. Same with Zach, where he is now making a biological claim, which means now his marriage is unhealthy because now he thinks it's the only way to be for everyone else's relationship, and he's making a biological claim. So my parents' relationship is healthy for them and their bubble. It's not healthy for everyone who would do it, nor is it healthy if you start prescribing it to other people, like making a prescription. So he's making a prescription. He's saying it is biologically wired into men to be providers, which is factually incorrect. Okay, especially the word provider as it is in today's like construct, like no. So even my parents, my mom always said like, your father's the provider. My mom has worked almost all of her life. So when people say women used to stay at home, not even my mother is somebody who's never worked. My mother has worked. My mother works now. I mean, they're retired now. But when the kids were young, my mom worked. And when the kids were grown, my mom worked. So I always told my mother, you say you're in a traditional relationship, but then why do you have a paycheck? Stop telling people that husbands should provide when you are balancing the books and doing all of the investing. My mother handled all of the money, which they spent, how they invested it. My mother is the reason they have a retirement, because my dad was out earning money, but he didn't know what to do with any of it. My mother is the one who took classes, got educated, learned how to invest their money, right? So like, yes, they were doing it together as a team, but this idea of like, I'm a man, I pay all the bills, is such a myth. It's a myth that doesn't exist except in a bubble in which somebody's either incredibly wealthy, which Zach is really well off. Okay. But it's only like, I'm sure his marriage is healthy, but his marriage has nothing to do with ideal health. So like, there's the difference between your marriage is healthy for you and your marriage is healthy if any of you deconstruct, right? Right? So check this out. I want to actually talk about this and kind of relate it to a bigger topic about why we need to figure out where we are on journeys. So, okay, so first of all, we know that that's bullshit, right? That babies are born into the universe and they're often socialized and trained to be a particular way. And that you can't just simply have a choice to pick differently. You have to deconstruct why you make a choice. This is why choice feminism is still bullshit if you're not thinking about in a formed way your choice, right? So again, like I support all people making choices. I also support you actually educating yourself about that choice. Okay, so I think that that's the part that you have to pay attention to first. And then this goes into the idea of health and relationships, which is actually pretty complicated. Somebody asked me, I often get asked, right? Like, I got asked in a comment, let me see if I can pull it up really fast because I'm kind of forgetting the wording here. Baby boy, to lose my breath. La 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 la. Hello? Okay, hold on. La 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 la. Uno momento. La 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 la. Da na na na. Da na 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 na. Da 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 da. This is why I bring up things before I start stream. Now you have to watch me do this. Man, what was the oh, racism. Okay, this one. Okay. So we were having the conversation the last couple of days about veganism, plant-based, ethics, morals, partnership, dating. And I want to wrap it together with Zach's video, right? Because look at this. I got a comment that said, hey, when you say going plant-based is for you, don't care if your partner does or doesn't go plant-based. I'm just thinking about the value of harm reduction within a team/unit. For example, the thought of I date this person, but I'm not going to, the thought I date this person, but I'm not going to be with them just because they're a little racist. Do you attach going plant-based as a value you practice in harm reduction? And then similarly, how does it align or doesn't align within your relationship values? So sometimes this is why I say like traditional values as displayed on the internet are a cope created through marketing and patriarchal bullshit that convince people they're actually making a choice. In the same way that like none of us made a choice to be born the way we were born. So when you even say like, oh, I made a choice to pick a partner, did you? Did you choose your partner? Or was the partner just the person that was at school with you, in your family gatherings, in your neighborhood? Were you just young? Were you pressured into marriage? Like, I don't even know how many of you are actually picking your partners, so much as your partner was picked for you with the circumstance around you. As you relate this to values and values that change over time, now we have to assume that Zach has married a woman that agrees with this value structure and says, right, like I'm not going to pay, right? Like Zach's wife, wherever she is not going to pay for stuff. And that's how she likes it, right? Zach is saying, as a man, I am biologically, right, wired to provide for my wife. Okay, he's making a lot of claims that sort of work in the same way, I think, gender expectations to sort of value expectations as it relates to even racism or plant-based eating. Sounds so stupid, but it actually makes a lot of sense. So example, okay, you're dating, oh God, my mouse. Okay, you're dating, okay? And actually, no. You're dating, okay? And you've decided to get married. So now you're a couple, okay? Along this journey, okay, as time goes on, time is passing by, okay? You got married as traditionalists, okay? You're traditionalists and you eat meat. Whoa. And he provides money, okay? But as you go along the journey, somehow he started to go this way and she started to go this way. Okay, the question is, can you meet in the middle? Is there a middle to meet into or no? Like, have you guys deviated so far from each other that actually the only thing now is to get divorced? Or can you find yourselves going back to each other? Oopsies. Can you find yourselves meeting each other again in a different way and creating like a different sort of union? This is everything. This is from racism to traditional life to veganism to anything else. You meet on the same page and then you grow in directions. So you can both meet traditional and both end up super fucking feminist. Okay? You can meet in the middle and end up both becoming like super radical leftists, right? Like that's possible. Okay? Like you can meet here and go, same with racism or being plant-based. You can both meet at a KKK rally. And then 10, 20 years later, you're like the biggest advocates for like anti-racism. The point is that you have to grow in a direction. So there are going to be relationships in which when you start off together, one person is deconstructing faster than the other. And this person, let's say you're both raised KKK. It's so extreme, but let's just say, okay, this, or let's say Confederate flag. That's much more common, right? I think. Okay, you both are born in a Confederate flag bubble. And then one person goes, hey, I think the Confederate flag might actually stand for like slavery and racism. And then your partner's like, no, dude, it's like my culture. And you're like, yeah, but I think it might be bad. And then you're here and your partner's here. The chances are your partner's probably going to stay there and you might go past and that's how you get divorced. But also you do stay with a partner that's more racist than you because you were together at the same time you were the same racist. And so the idea is like, as you deconstruct out of racism, your partner either comes with you and you help each other grow, or you end up leaving that partner and you guys end up getting divorced, right? Same thing with plant-based. Okay, I married my partner not being plant-based. Okay, plant-based is also not equal to racism. I do find it incredibly unethical when we're talking about being animal species on a planet to, yes, not center human beings as the center of the universe, and yet to equate human beings to the same relationship we have with non-human beings. I just think it's very wrong from that perspective, on that very micro perspective, to compare brown people to animals in any capacity, in any conversation, ever. So I don't like it. I think it's very fucked up, and I think it's wrong. So me dating a person who eats fish is not the same as dating somebody who's racist. They're not the same at all. Okay? So I would be very cautious with the way we have these conversations. And the same way that if I'm dating a person who's super femme, that doesn't mean I'm dating somebody who's super left. I could just be dating a conservative who's feminine. A lot of conservative guys out here cross-dressing. You know it. I know it. We all know it. Okay? So you could be dating a conservative man who's cross-dressing. But the idea is that we look at Zach and we think, oh, he must be more left than right. And then we find out, oh, that's kind of like a conservative talking point. Same thing with anyone you're dating or anyone you're with. Is maybe he changed along the way. Maybe they grew in a direction. Maybe. But when we have conversations about like, how does this play into values and ethics? Like, my partner is on their own journey. I'm on my own journey. If at some point we deviate so aggressively in terms of values, in terms of non-human animal life, we can come to that road when we can. But I would sooner divorce my husband for being pro-Trump, anti-black, anti-trans, anti-gay, before I would divorce him for eating an animal. Because my values aren't about, that's why I'm not vegan. You know what I'm saying? vegan in that way because I haven't, and I do not have the embodied experience of seeing non-human animal life as sacred or as independent from the cycle yet that I think vegans do. So like the way you treat humans is going to be the most important thing to me. And then secondary is how you treat animals. And third is how you treat the environment. And yet, ideally, I would like you to treat them all very much equal or the same or close to, right? So that's what I'm trying to get at when I see stuff like this. And I go, even the femmes are grifting when it comes to, quote, traditional relationships. It's not just the grift, it's the misunderstanding of what's happening. Like, I am not going to divorce my partner. Like somebody asked me like, oh, if people don't convert, are you going to stop talking to them? Convert to what? I cannot convert to being plant-based. Y'all, it's not a religion. Please, I beg you to use every brain cell. It is not a religion. It's a diet. You're going to stop talking to your friends over a diet? You know what I'm saying? I am not vegan. And so when people ask me those questions like, oh, are you going to stop talking to your husband because like he eats fish? It's like, what are we talking about? Like, are we even, are we having the same conversation? Like, I'm trying to be so clear with language, but I see now that you, and I always knew this really, but you know this too, intuitively, man, like the language we use is so specific. So watch this video again. Watch the video again.
I really can't wrap my mind around the fact that there are some men out there who actually think that it is normal and
I liked the video. Okay. I cannot wrap my head around the fact that some men out there think it's okay and expect their girl to pay. What?
okay to expect their girl, whether that's a girlfriend or wife or whatever woman you're in a committed relationship with, to pay for anything.
Pay for anything. Now, a part of me is like, is he just appealing to his base? And then that's the other part with all of the content we make. We're going to talk about this later. Are we all just appealing to the people that are watching us? You know what I mean? And so that's the part that I want people to pay attention to. The part that like sticks out to me is like, it's whether you're traditional or saying, I cannot believe people pay, or you're vegan or plant-based and you're like, I can't believe, oh, are you not going to date somebody who's vegan, or are you going to divorce them if you're plant-based? It's like, I'm tired. Okay. Like, again, when we have these conversations, okay, Chat said, I wonder if I'm correct in equating veganism to similar to a religion as opposed to plant-based. Okay, so the only way, because I was going to mention this too. So Zach is pushing propaganda by patriarchal, often religious communities, which is why it comes off like a doctrine. Like there's a rule to it, okay, because it believes in an inherent reality. Veganism and religion only are similar in the sense that, are you really Catholic? Okay, if you go to church every week, but you don't believe it. Are you really vegan if you eat plant-based, but you don't really believe it? Because that's how I feel right now. I feel like I couldn't be vegan because even though I'm eating plant-based, I only eat items with no animal product. I am to every layman watching me a vegan, even though I know I'm not. It's the same way that if someone saw me going to church every week and praying the rosary, they think I was Catholic, even though I know I'm not Catholic. I know I'm not Catholic. But if I did that every week, would you think I was Catholic? Do you know what I'm saying? But veganism isn't a religion in the sense that it has none of the criteria. Veganism is a philosophical framework that aims to minimize and eradicate the exploitation of non-human animals, which sounds pretty nice. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So when we have these conversations and we sort of like are trying to define something or what people believe, or, oh, do you believe in tradition? Like, what is Zach talking about traditional relationships for? You know what I'm saying? What is he talking about? Biological procreation, predator, or not procreation, provider talking. Like, what are you talking about, Zach? What do you mean? What are you talking about? And then that's why it feels like a grift. And that's also why people who like make their whole identity like, I'm vegan, and 10 years later, they're like, actually, I'm not vegan. People go, oh, you were never vegan. Because it feels like a grift. Were you vegan? No. Now, Britt Hartley, Rhett and Link, they were Mormon. No, I think Rhett and Link were Christian and Mormon, and they deconstructed while married. And when they deconstructed when married, right, they their spouses eventually followed them, but I think they were a little bit behind, if I'm not mistaken, right? So that's also something to keep in mind too. So in my relationship, the only reason we would get divorced is if one of us wanted to, first of all. Second of all, if there was abuse. And third of all, I guess that's the only two reasons. But like, you know, I assume with the first one, if we wanted to, would be because we grew in different directions or something. So that's the only time we're getting divorced is if we want to and there's abuse. Okay? Because if there's abuse, then it doesn't matter if you want to stay in the marriage, we're getting divorced. And then if you want to leave the marriage, I'm not going to keep, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? Okay? So again, when we have these conversations, I think the issue I see, the reason this was so frustrating to me to see him say this is because like, instead of being like a defying staple in the community that says you can have exactly the relationship you want, instead it's, no, you have to have the relationship everybody else wants. Hold on, let me mute this. Like, instead of saying, look, you can have any relationship you want, you can both be femme, you can both be pretty, you can both be all of these things. Instead, it's like, hold on, I'm sorry. Oh my God. Instead, it's like, no, you have to have the thing that everyone says you have to have. Like, why can't they just have a beautiful relationship? Like, now I feel like I can't celebrate his relationship because it's weird. Like, I'm glad they're happy and I believe they're happy. But also, why'd you have to go and be weird about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, why'd you have to be so weird? Like, you know what I'm saying? And same thing when I get comments from people that are like, are you going to divorce your husband because he's not plant-based? Girlies, you're being weird. I don't know if people know how weird you're being. Now, when you ask the question genuinely, I hear you. But when someone doesn't get it, when they talk about plant-based, like, oh, are you going to convert to plant-based? Habibis, you're being weird. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird to think. Because again, then you're not getting it as a diet. I don't personally want to eat things that had to die, that have consciousness, to eat because it's unnecessary. That's it. Nothing changes. Brittany, in the same way, Brittany, don't do a lot of things. I don't buy fur. I don't buy leather. I buy shampoos and conditioners with the label vegan on them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a very specific personal value. It is not the same thing as what other people should do. It is not a value about abortion, which would impact my life. If my partner was pro-life, now that is about my health. If my partner and I are vegan, that's not going to impact my health. Now, again, if I was vegan before I met my partner, we probably wouldn't be together. Okay? Do you get what I'm saying? So I think that there's like a mistake happening when we hear the word traditional, or we hear the word lavender, or we hear the word gay. Also, like, a lot of people think I'm married to a lesbian somehow. Like, my comment sections like are like, wait, aren't you married to a woman? Aren't you a lesbian? You can be married to a woman and not be a lesbian. And this is why I think like bubbles are so important. You remember them. It really helps us understand each other so much better, because the fact is, pansexual people exist. You can have two women who are married and they're still not lesbians. Like, the world is just like, it's so not even ready to have the real conversation, because the world they only know the construct they were given, right? And so, like, again, when we have these conversations, I just think they're kind of funny, but all kind of end up overlapping or relating, right? Chet said, in short, Brittany has changed her diet, but not her philosophy, correct? Well, no, I have changed my philosophy. Otherwise, I couldn't have changed my diet. My philosophy impacted my diet. I just am not vegan the way vegans seem to be vegan. I know other people say, oh, Brittany, not all vegans are like that. With peace and love, I'm not about to have a video made about me, about how like Brittany's not a real vegan, because I'm not about to fight for it that hard. That's what I'm saying. I am not about to own a label that people can make videos about me for something I do not care about. You know what I'm saying? Like, my philosophy did have to change about eating animals in order for me to go plant-based. But it's not vegan. Like, do you not see the difference about being vegan? Are you guys not, like, do you watch vegan documentaries or like vegan people? Like, it's really important to them. It's like really important to them that like people understand it. It's like their activism. It's like being anti-racist. Anti-racist is not the same thing as saying you're not racist. Okay? Like, the nuance here is very specific. And so I think it's really good. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm just like not in that bubble. Or like climate scientists. Like, I never talk about climate change here. I mean, I do kind of, but not really. Like, I'm doing my best to help the climate, but I'm like not obsessed with climate change, right? Taylor Lorenz, she's a technology, right? Journalist. I don't care about technology like that. I don't know about it like that. You know what I'm saying? Veganism is the same thing. It's a special interest wrapped around a philosophy. It's someone's life and they embody it. The same way you have anti-capitalists or leftists who are not embodying overconsumption. Like, how can you be an anti-leftist and anti-capitalist and then overconsume? So if I called myself an anti-capitalist, and that means I would hope that you would also follow with not being an overconsumer. Or if you cared about the environment, you wouldn't be an overconsumer. You know? So like all of these conversations are about which bubble you perfectly fall into. That's why Zach's video was so like that. Literally, girls, I was like this. But they're all connected. And I think that's why it's always going to be hard for us to recognize where we are. And by the way, you know that concept of like you're not poor or you're not ugly, you're just poor? You're also, because we communicate, and we're going to talk about the Met Gala in a second, the reason what you look like matters is because we use it to communicate to people who we are. And if you don't have the money to communicate who you are, then sometimes you don't even get to tell the world who you are. And that's the other part of it that's layered in this communication. So can you tell the theme today is about like what you look like, signaling, hierarchy. We started off the stream with the beginning thing, which was like, oh, like no manicures is the new sign of like wealth. Okay. Now it's going to be, oh my God, I'm femme in a heterosexual relationship, but I still believe in the patriarchy and men are biologically providers. And it's like, huh? And then it's like, okay, yeah, in a nuanced world, this would be true. And also it's interesting that like this used to be a signal. We talked about this when that man, when they said, hey, who did you vote for? And he goes, oh, he fumbled. And we were like, we know who you voted for now. I said, it's so funny that this look on a man used to be the signal of the left. And people were like, Brittany, you can't judge a book by its cover. Habibi, we all judge a book by its cover because we purposely cover our books a specific way to sell specific books. That's why when you go to the romance aisle, they look the same. You go to the sci-fi aisle, they look the same. That's why even authors, their book covers are themed. Thumbnails, YouTube videos, anything we create, which go, oh my God, this is turning out to be a great actually connection to everything we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about this after the Met Gala. FD Signifier made the argument that YouTube's always been kind of slop. And I think he's right, but I would even take it a step further. I think everything human beings have ever created has been slop. And also, what does the word slop even mean? Because Elliot Zane was talking about it, and apparently it comes from maybe possibly a right-wing bubble of some kind. Really, what we're trying to say is we're trying to create a hierarchy of I'm better than you because I read better books and I watch better things and I consume better media. But the truth is like, is any of it even that good? Even though all of it's like pretty good, is anything really that good though? You know? And that's what's interesting. Chet said slop as in cope. No, slop like, you know when people used to watch reality TV and they're like, oh, that's like trashy TV. That's like for people who don't have brain cells. Slop, like AI slop, like meaningless, empty, devoid of emotion or art or anything real, right? Like, oh, that's trashy magazines or celebrity gossip, like, oh, slop. And that's kind of like what people are saying about YouTube is like, it's all kind of slop. But, and we'll get into it later. But I do think, yeah, chat said throwaway media. Yeah, like throwaway media or just like, but the irony is I think it's all of that. I think even the news is that. Like, I watch a lot of news and sometimes I just think like, man, this is fucking nothing. You know, like, this is just kind of nothing, right? Chad said categorizing everything as slop is meaningless. Existing is meaningless, but here we are. To saying something is everything is meaningless is just, you just said the same thing, Habibi. You know what I mean? Like, categorizing everything is meaningless. It's all meaningless. It's all meaningless. We create meaning, and yet we are seeking inherent meaning, right? Like the question we have in philosophy is there greater meaning to our existence? Is there inherent meaning to the universe? And then the only way we decide yes is because we decided it, which makes it inherently meaningless because we just decided it was meaningful. So if we decide it's meaningless, now it's meaningless. Oh, I decided it's meaningful, now it's meaningful. I think there is an answer outside of our perception, but whether or not we have access to it, We don't know, right? You know, you said yes, but we are here on a philosophy channel making meaning by using words. So saying everything is slop is lazy. Laziness is a construct created by capitalism to convince you you shouldn't exist as you are. Like laziness is a symptom for something else, right? Your commentary is lazy, you know? Like you are doing it right now. You are being lazy by not hearing me. But laziness isn't real. You're exhibiting a symptom of an inability to hear the context of the conversation. I'm not being lazy. I'm telling you a thought I have. I'm exploring ideas with you. And then you're like, slop, lazy. Like lazy doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like lazy is not a real concept, you know? Lazy is a cope. It's a cope term for I don't really want to find out what's really going on. Lazy doesn't exist. So I'm not being lazy, right? You said I hear you and I disagree, so I'm engaging with you. You're not engaging with me. You're insulting me, right? You're insulting me. When you call people lazy, it's an insult. It is never not an insult. It is an insulting word. So you're not engaging with me. You're insulting me. You can't, you know what I'm saying? That's like, you're not actually engaging. So would you like to use a different word to engage in the conversation? You said I didn't say you were lazy. Okay, you said the idea that I presented is lazy. Okay, I'm not taking it personal, Habibi. I'm not saying Brittany, am lazy. I know I'm not lazy. I'm saying, how can you be engaging with my idea? You sound like, oh my God, you sound like a pro-lifer who's like murdering babies. Abortion is always murdering babies. And I'm like, it's definitely ending a life. And they're like, so you agree it's murdering babies? And I'm like, no. You know what I mean? I'm trying to say like, you can't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Chat said it's like saying dumb. It's not an actual critique. Exactly. You're not actually giving a critique. You're just like, that's stupid. Okay. And I'm saying, and I'm also correcting your language for other people in the chat. If you're new to my channel, I don't believe in the concept of laziness. I think laziness is a symptom. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah. Just say it's a bad idea, or just say like, oh, I don't think I agree with that, Brittany. Like, but here's the thing is I said something that you said something I didn't say, right? I didn't say everything is slop, but you said I did, but I'm saying it to make a bigger idea, right? Bad is an insult too. It can be. Who are you fighting right now? Who are you shadowboxing? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you actually engaging in me? Chat said maybe it would help the chatter if the chatter understood more if you elaborated on what slop means to you. I agree that lazy is an insult. Did I not just tell you what slop meant? That's what I'm saying. Girls, are you watching the whole stream? Or this is what's hard for me as a creator, because I just said it and I don't know if you heard me. Are you saying you didn't hear me just describe what slop is? Didn't we just talk about that? That's why I don't know. Did you guys just walk into the room? See, if this was an auditorium, I could tell you just came through the door. You know what I mean? But I just explained it. We just had a whole conversation. Me and Chat just went back and forth about what slop was. So did you miss it? Help me help you, because I don't know if you missed it. You know? Chat said, I don't know. I didn't watch from the beginning. I just did it 5 minutes ago. We just did it. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, that's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm not fighting with you. You have to understand, from my position, all I'm seeing is all I'm seeing is words on the screen. And then I hear this person, look at this person coming in with a slur next. So then I have to deal with, I don't know if you're a hater or whatever else. I'm going to ban this person. It's one of those days where people come in making fun of the gays. Okay. Okay, let's see. In my opinion, bad faith is the wrong way to show up in a philosophical debate, but I also know it's very common, especially in more academic circles. Well, yeah. Oh, is that what I said? Bad faith? Why did they say bad as an insult too? I'm not sure what they meant by that. Did somebody say that? Did I say that? I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. Okay, are we good? Can we move on? If you guys have questions, you can ask. But I want to wrap this around and bring it to the Met Gala stuff, because I'm not sure like what we're even talking about at this point now, because I don't even know why you were disagreeing with me, like, or why you said what you said, because I feel like I didn't even say what you said I said, you know, so now I'm confused. Okay, no problemo. We move on, because we can do this. Now, let me tell you about this. So obviously, okay, Met Gala happened. If you don't know, let me give you the news version of the Met Gala.
A reported $100,000 a ticket, and if you can afford a reported $100,000 a ticket and are deemed cool enough to be invited, tonight's a biggie. The annual Met Gala, officially a charity for the museum, unofficially a showy gathering of big names and even bigger money. None more controversial than this year's honorary chairs. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and his wife Lauren Sanchez Bezos. CBS Morning Saturday co-anchor Adriana Diaz is there and filed this report.
Hey, Tony, tonight the Metropolitan Museum of Art is the center
She does look pretty, though. Everyone does look pretty, though.
of the fashion world, drawing the biggest names from film, fashion, music, art, and tech. Hundreds of people are expected to arrive, and we've already seen some high-profile arrivals. Tonight's theme, costume art, celebrates the museum's new exhibit opening later this spring. Guests are expected to dress as expressions of art, not just style, each one a walking canvas.
I wanted to go for timeless, but also statement and also art.
But this year's gala is also facing controversy, particularly around honorary co-chairs Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and his wife Lauren Sanchez Bezos. Critics cite Amazon's labor practices and are calling for a boycott.
Shame on you, Jeff Bezos.
Last night, a video featuring Amazon workers angry over the way they're treated was projected on the facade of Bezos' Fifth Avenue apartment. A handful of celebrities have decided to sit out this year's gala. And New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani is skipping the event, saying he's focused on affordability in one of the country's most expensive cities. There are no cameras allowed inside of this invitation-only fundraiser, but the cost of individual tickets has soared, now $100,000, up from $75,000 last year. And despite all the controversy and high ticket prices, there is so much excitement in the air to see how everyone will interpret this year's theme. People are especially excited to catch a glimpse of Beyonce, one of the co-chairs. She hasn't been here in 10 years. Tony.
Okay, so that is like the news version of it. Let me show you this because I didn't even know this existed. So, okay, heads up. Not normally my bubble. I do love fashion. I did at one point in my life truly dream of working at Vogue. I think we all went through a millennial, did go through a Sex in the City, Devil Wears Prada. I'm going to work for Anna Wintour. I don't know, girl. It was a phase. I used to buy, I used to go through a stage where I was like, I'm not into this stuff. And then I went to a stage where I was like, I will buy every magazine that ever existed and my walls will be covered with magazine covers. To, you know what? I wish I was rich, but also like fuck capitalism. So I'm on the fuck capitalism train, but I will not play that I do not love the way everybody looks. So I will just say, I think this is the most disgusting display of wealth. People are disgusting for engaging with this. And I think the world is a terrible place. Also, look at this footage from Vogue. I'm going to skip around because I'm afraid of getting copyrighted, but okay. Here's Anna Wintour.
The themes of the show and the cultural references, and what I think people love about tonight is not only is it great for fashion and obviously a very important fundraiser for the Met and for the Costume Institute, it's also...
Like, I'm not going to lie to you that I've been taking a break from my OF for a while because like I wanted to be a visual artist at one point, and that's kind of what I use my OF for, is I think about it as like visual art. And I want to get back into it so bad when I see stuff like this. Because then I think about like making like, I want to make like commentary visual art. Like sometimes I'll see like an artist like put a statue up in a street. And I'm like, I should have just been an artist. Like I should have just done this for, you know, and then I'm like, but I love this job too. So that's the problem, is like, I think there's something so mesmerizing about stuff like this, because I think if we all had money and time, we'd play dress up too. I think adults really do just want to play dress up all day, but instead we have to go work. And I think that's the problem. It's like, why do you get to play dress up, but I can't play dress up?
Incredibly important to the economic health of New York City itself.
And yesterday I told my partner, I was like, hey, do you see this Met Gala gown? I was like, I want it. Let's go make this. And he was like, I think you have to make that. I was like, buy me a sewing machine now. Buy me a sewing machine. And I was like, don't let me buy a sewing machine. When I see stuff like this, I was like, fuck it. I'm going to start sewing again. I'm going to do it.
If you think about the hotels that we fill and God knows how many hairdressers
I'm going to skip around. I'm going to skip around.
To see themselves in the Met, to see themselves at the Costume Institute, but this is one milestone of many that we need. It also reveals the lack of disabled talent that we have in the fashion.
I love both of, is this Ashley Graham? I love both of these dresses. Like, I love the aesthetic. I love the look. Like, I want to do a photo shoot like this, you know?
The need to create pipelines of talent, and the need for more accessibility overall.
Okay, skipping around. Hi, guys. Here's Katy Perry. I don't really get it, but there it is. There's the stairs. You know what I mean? Look at all these people in the background. Like, look at all this. Look at these people in the background. Look at all these dresses. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, Chad says, which look was it you wanted to sew? Oh my God. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it really fast. It was so pretty. I wanted to gag. I should have brought it up for you. You're right. Hold on. Let me find it. Hold on. It's in my liked. Hold on. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's so good. This is what I'm saying. I need to pay like a seamstress or somebody, a tailor, somebody in Croatia just to make these for me. My God. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Oh my God. Girl, okay, it's fine. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. We all deserve to play dress up for a living. Okay, I want to play dress up for a living. You know what I mean? I get it. I get why Alexander McQueen and all those artists were so poor all of their lives until they weren't. Because, like, sometimes you eat, breathe fabric. Like, I get it. Okay, let's skip around.
And this is the traditional azabache, which...
So interesting.
And she went to Paris and she painted her artwork.
Just hand painted?
Just hand painted, and her work is all about the female form and love and all the beautiful things that we should cherish in the world.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's also like women's bodies, but in the color palette.
Okay, this is also why I say Chad says Brittany crying and throwing up over how good it looks. Bro, I literally listen to me when I say, like, I really do think, I know a lot of people say, like, oh, without patriarchy, which is so true. And I also think, like, imagine if this was our life, though. Like, imagine if our life could just be, but it isn't. It's this. And this is really gross. Like, it's $100,000 for tickets to celebrate art instead of making that art accessible to all people in a way that's, like, more consumable, in making sure, like, you know, it's like, elitist, and it's funded by billionaires, and just imagine a world, you know. And I think, like, that's the thing. I think it's hard though, because, like, you are still human, and so this plays into what I want to talk about later, where YouTube does the same thing, where, like, big creators have clicks and smaller creators make content about them, and big creators get mad and they start friend group text messages about it. We're gonna talk about it later, and I'm just saying, man, you can't escape it. It's like you can't escape the drama or escape because we can't just have the conversation. We have to make videos about each other back and forth instead of just being like, hey, like, what are you doing? But then it's about ethics and the difference of those ethics. Like Jeff Bezos being here, all these people, there's a genocide happening. There is, like, displacement. There's a famine. There's, like, all of this tragedy happening around the globe. And then there's this. And I guess as it should be, because at all points in all of existence, it always has been. And also, it's like, damn, this is so weird, and it is so pretty, but it is also disgusting. It's both things. Like, it's kind of like a dessert. You know how you get really excited to order dessert at a restaurant, and then you eat it, and you're like, oh my God, it's so rich. It's so heavy. It makes me feel so bad, but I want it. It's like that. That's what it feels like to me, you know? And I understand it's a fundraiser for art. I do understand that, right? Like, we get that. But the point is that it's $100,000 a ticket. It's for the elite. I mean, this is literally, come on. If you go to this event, you are in that group. And that's the question. Why are you there? The question is, should we aspire to be there? Because I also saw, I didn't feature this. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. First Black, disabled, trans woman at the Met Gala. I believe Marina Rose Phillip. People were like, should this be her aspiration? Like, should her aspiration be to be at this event?
Ariana Rose Phillip steps into one of fashion's most iconic spaces.
Okay, this is like an AI video, but this is her. Like, is this the goal? Like, is our goal to be at these events? Or is the goal to not have to go to these events? But then if I never go to these events, do we ever get to be witnessed? And this is so hard. I don't blame her for going because like, I get it, girl. And also, damn. And this is what I'm going to talk about later in stream about YouTubers too. Like, do we aspire to be one of the big players, or do we aspire to lift up the right voices doing the right things, and then who decides what is the right thing, right? It all plays into this. It all plays into this.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with how I bought a few.
Okay, let me skip.
A ginger Jessica Rabbit. Thank you. And both of you two look stunning.
Love this.
Have you slept yet, Anne? I know you're like on this crazy whirlwind.
A little bit. Not so much last night, but
that was painted during the Harlem Renaissance, 1927, by a black woman named Laura Wheeling Waring.
I love that.
Yeah, so this is sort of a soft nod to the aging body because it was a young girl in a pink dress. So here we have like vines as they get a little bit more mature.
Love her, love her, love her.
I just love you.
Quick, I'm so behind on so many things. I'm like, oh shit. I kind of feel bad.
But does it matter?
I mean, it
all the way
like,
down.
Everything
it's
looks
stunning.
so
Stunning.
cool.
So the inspiration is coming from my new album.
Okay.
Don't care about your album? Peace and love?
Patrick.
Patrick.
This song.
I know people don't like her, but honestly, I do like her aesthetic. What's her name? I can't think of her name.
So I love it, and you look great
I wonder
too.
if they ever get bored. I wonder if they ever get bored during these kinds of events. Ooh,
Okay, but I wanted to know, like, what? They look perfect. They look perfect.
Sorry. Hey, okay.
But I wanted to know, like, what makes you so fearless when it comes to fashion?
I'm gonna cry. I want this. Oh. My partner says my fashion sense is autistic femme, and honestly, I want this, but with muscles.
I just love a character, and I love playing, and I love intention.
Ugh.
So every single piece, all of these are real crystals. These are quartz and citrine.
See, I don't care about like the money of it all, but the aesthetic is like
Rose quartz. So I just feel energetically sound. Like I just got a chance to play and create, and Emily is so chill and so much fun. I just loved expressing.
Love. Oh, okay. So, Doechii, right? The comments for this were crazy. And remember, every piece they chose was like some sort of art piece they were inspired by.
All right, I'm joined by Ben Stiller and Christine Taylor.
Excuse me, Ben. We're not looking at you right now. We're looking at Doechii. Okay, I guess they didn't stay on Doechii long enough. Here's Ben. Don't care about Ben. Okay, let's see. Okay, this one was crazy because this is the one of that infamous photo of the girl getting her head chopped off so they could take her place as queen. That was the inspiration for this one, which I thought was really interesting. I used to have that picture as my desktop photo, but still, even that girl. So there's something really like devastating about that photo, that painting of the girl getting her head chopped off, because she also symbolized like royalty and court, and also like how gross it was, yes, and also how these women also uphold these like systems of elitism and patriarchy and all of these other things. So like there's something really like, this is so like real in this moment. Like, again, just being here alone. And this is why I say, girls, I remember I worked alongside or with a woman who was in the capitalist adjacent bubble. And she would talk about feminism and being like, you know, whatever. She wasn't an anti-capitalist. She wasn't a leftist, but she was like, she called herself progressive. And I remember her like bragging to us that she would have to make like $100,000 to go stay in alleged billionaire's place because that's how much staying at his place was a night. And I'm like, am I supposed to be impressed with this, bro? But yeah, I think like there's a level of braggadociousness that plays into going to events like these, and I just don't get it. Like, I don't actually get it. And yet, let me say this. Can we have this event without it being so obnoxious? And maybe the answer is no, because the amount of money, the amount of like, the reason this looks this way is because it costs so much. Like, it's like those memes where it's like, why don't people still have parties like this? I wanted to go, but they do. You're just not invited. You know? It's like, I think the dilemma here is this place between like success and what success rewards you, and no matter how successful you'll be, you'll never be in these bubbles, but maybe you don't want to be. This is the dilemma. So from afar, I will say that it's easy to admire And up close, I think you start to see how it unravels.
Most about you.
Here's Kim. This is what I mean. Like she looks really good, but remember, right? This is all strategic, like the placing, everything is strategic. It is a work of art. It isn't what Kim Kardashian looks like. It's what she looks like as a piece of art. And that's what I try to think of my photography as, is like, because we don't look like that. Most of us look not like anything, right? But we exist, okay? And I'm trying to say, like, I love to dress up because it's not what I look like every day. Some people dress up every day, but a lot of people dress up for an occasion, which is what makes it fun. You know what I mean? But I think Kim looks great here. But to be honest, I kind of always think she looks good. But I'm also like, I think most people look pretty good. I think I'm one of those people where I think like most people look good. So.
Your body.
Okay,
I like how it.
Where's
you have?
I want to find Beyonce.
Yeah, he made it.
Oh, it's.
Let's see. Where's B? There she is.
I'm gonna go walk over.
Okay, here's B.
Wow, Beyonce is really serving tonight. I wonder if she's gonna take the feathers off as she walks up.
And by the way, you remember that video I tried to make where I was like, I think you could be professional and exaggerated? I think there is a world where you could kind of dress up like this every day and be professional at the office. I just think that world can't exist here under patriarchy. And I think it's really hard for it to exist without somebody feeling bad that they can't live up to the expectation. But I do think so. If I ran an office, I'd like to believe that my office would allow people to be very exaggerated at work, because the work would hopefully be something where that's allowed. And also, like, it would still be professional, which means, and hear me when I say this, there would have to be a standard of expression. So this is the part where, like, money, you have to have a certain amount of money because it comes with a certain amount of relationship to existence that allows you to have to show up in a certain way. So as an example, like, this is hard to say because, like, accessibility means accessible for all, but the standard of living and expectation is given to people through their environments. So like everybody, like you could have a house that's full of baby diapers from floor to ceiling. I would not say that standard of living is good just because you own a house. So I would want you to have, because you deserve it, a house that is clean. And I would want to figure out why this happened, right? You can be extra wealthy and have a very abusive home, okay? I think poverty, we know, is not good. There is no good thing about poverty. It doesn't mean people who are in poverty aren't good people. It means there's nothing good about poverty. And I kind of think there's nothing good about being wealthy either, which is why we say no ethical billionaires. Like, what is good about being a billionaire? So there's a level here. Remember, we're looking at a billionaire right now. That's what Beyonce and Jay-Z are.
This is going to be a wonderful experience seeing her IRL as we're eating. I'm gonna go walk over right up to her and just let her know the queen has arrived. Wow. Oh, even her gloves. She's got skeletons on her fingers. Do you see blue behind her?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, so that's Blue. Blue Ivy.
Do you see blue?
And I think she's, what is she, 15, 16 now?
Behind her?
Yeah.
Wow. Mommy-daughter duo.
No, it's very, very cute. Look how long but the hair is.
It looks amazing. I love that Blue is like in this I own everything mode also.
Obsessed.
Together. This is warming my like mommy heart. She's like, wait, not in front of my mom.
Oh, I don't want it to play music on me. Oh, they just ended with B. Like B's the, interview? Okay, girl. This girl always has I forget her name, but this woman here has the most insane, amazing looks. Like she just comes with the best looks at every event. Love this look. forward it a bit.
So 10 years.
Okay.
He is here. Beyonce is officially here at the Met Gala. Now, B, it's been 10 years.
10 years.
How does it feel being back?
It feels surreal because my daughter's here.
And Blue looks so beautiful.
She looks so beautiful. This is it's incredible to be able to share it with her, and I think she looks so incredible.
She looks so beautiful. I'm like, we could learn some red carpet tips from Blue.
Absolutely.
The way she's posing, I'm like,
she was ready.
She was ready.
She is ready.
Absolutely. So, B, what are you looking forward to most from tonight?
I think it's really just experiencing this through the eyes of Blue and being able to relax. And I think for me, I'm wearing Olivier Rousteing, who is
so good.
Someone that's been so loyal to me, and I've done so many incredible, iconic looks with him. So it's really about representing him.
And celebrating bodies, just celebrating all bodies, all the different bodies.
Different, juicy, curvy,
I love
thin, tall, whatever. Just celebrating whatever God gave you.
Absolutely. Well, you know how much I love you, B. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, what an interesting experience to watch it. I do think like it is just very self-indulgent at the end of the day. Here's what's her name? Lena Dunham.
So good.
And I love this theme. I would come to the Met every Sunday as a kid and spend a lot of time in the Renaissance painting section. One of my favorite painters from that era is Artemisia Gentileschi, who is one of the only women who was painting.
Like, I think there's a part, we're going to talk about this at the end as well. I think there's a part of us that wants to be a part of this bubble for reasons. Okay, how do I say this? Okay, I'll let you in. Okay, here's the thing. Okay. I came from a homeschooling background. I came from an immigrant background. I was raised in a bubble that in one side of their mouth told me to be a traditional stay-at-home mom. On the other side of their mouth told me to own a business and become a billionaire or millionaire, whatever. Both. And I always knew I was like a weird kid since I was young. Okay. And I aspired. The moment I could start making a living, I was selling lemonade. I was doing game days with my friends. My friends and I had a newsletter. Like, we were waking up on Saturdays to make money. I was always playing with fashion. I was always wearing the craziest clothes. I would wear like leggings with 6-inch cheetah platforms with like a tube top with like a fur hat. And people would be like, is it summer or winter? Like, I would just wear the weirdest clothes. I was always trying to like figure out like who I was. I think that search for meaning is what creates art. I think the dilemma is that the why matters. I chased my sense of meaning in the wrong way. I read a bunch of books. I learned artists' names. I could reference literature. I could reference designers. I wanted to sound smart, but I also wanted to be smart enough to be in these communities. And then I went on that philosophical journey. And to be honest, it felt like I started from scratch again because none of it felt important. Like, who fucking cares? Like, who cares about the money? Who cares about knowing people's names? Who cares about being able to quote things from books? Like, who fucking cares, bro? Like, you know, that nihilistic, we're on a floating rock in space. And then it was sort of like, oh, yeah, all of it's important and none of it's important. All of it is just like a relationship too. And so as I change and I grow and as you see me, witness me, what you're really witnessing is like a person, like I'm really existing in front of you, right? I can't see you, of course, but you can see me. And what I'm doing every day is figuring out what is my relationship to these things. So when I see this Met Gala, my relationship to the fashion is, oh my God, I'm so excited. My relationship to the reality of what I'm witnessing is like, I am so disturbed. I'm disgusted. I'm vomitous. My reaction to maybe us in chat going, oh my God, she's so pretty. Oh my God, she's so pretty. It's like, I get excited and I kind of wish you were here so I could with you. Like, I wish I could be excited with you physically, right? And then the other part of it is like, damn, I can't even like afford to eat what I want every week if I want to go to a nice restaurant once a week. And these people are paying $100,000 for an event to, yes, raise money for art. And also, a lot of these museums have stolen art pieces from places all over the world that they shouldn't even have there. So it's like, like, yeah, we have, you know, art is such an interesting idea, and living in the world, like your life is art, like for real. And I think we keep trying to create something outside of ourselves to represent what is, but like the slop is sort of the thing you're creating because you're ignoring the fact that your life is the art, you know? And this is sort of why I think people pull to the Miyazaki aesthetic. They want to live in anime nature. You know what I mean? They want to live in a world that feels like so much better than our world could ever create, you know? They want to live in a place that feels like incredibly magical, piano ballads. Oh my God, whoa. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like this feeling of like, I want to live in a place that's unlike our place. And to end this, I'm going to show you this, which is just the epitome of what I'm hoping to show you. Hold on here. Give me a second. Oh no. Oh. Hold on. Instagram logged me out. It's okay. Hold on. I'll pull it from my phone. I would send it to my Discord. Hold on. Let me show it to you. Hold on, before I lose my train of thought. Give me a second. Don't lose your train of thought, Brittany, because you're logged out of Instagram. Give me a second. Okay. Copy this. Copy this link and send it to my girls. Send it to my girls. Okay, so, okay, hold on, before I show this. So, okay, so we have the Met Gala put on by this billionaire couple who we know is destroying the planet, who we know is hurting the earth, who we know is paying people unfairly, who we know people are dying in their factories and peeing in bottles. We know for a fact they've exploited us, the workers and the consumers. We know they're exploiting the planet. And yet here we are gushing and gagging over, yes, beautiful fashion and an interesting event and people who have so much wealth. It's disgusting. And yet the way we imagine our meaning on the planet is to create a fantasy of something we think is better instead of making the thing we're existing in now better. So here I see this TikTok yesterday. Okay, it says, wishing I was riding on the Sky Bison with my 4 besties and saving the world instead of commuting to work, right? This said, for real, life is so boring and lonely. And I'm like, Avatar The Last Airbender is about 4 children in a 100-year war where genocide has taken place and everybody has lost their parents and family members and best friends. And you can do that right now. It's happening in Sudan, in Palestine, in all these places around the world. Like when you sit there and you make content about romanticizing art and you don't understand it, this is why billionaires exploit you. This is why you don't understand life, because you're watching the Met Gala and ignoring, because it's beautiful and shiny, and I get it, all of the evil that went into making this happen. You sit here and make content that you just probably think is funny and relatable and viral about how I wish I was like saving the world with my friends on a Sky Bison, the only surviving Sky Bison, with the only surviving air nomad because they were genocided out of existence by the Fire Nation. Well, Israel is genociding Palestine right now. We love to watch stories and imagine our life would be better in them. Your life is perfect the way it is now. Get living. Start living. But instead, we tell ourselves a story and we push that story out into the world, and that becomes our new reality, right? One more example of this in a completely different direction that I think plays a huge role in sort of how we, understand the world around us and we understand how life works literally. Okay. You can tell yourself all kinds of stories about why the world is the way that it is, but billionaires literally pay people to sit in a room every day and figure out ways to exploit you by using your own psychology against you. And I don't mean it in like a conspiracy theory way. I mean, literally, you are also the reason the world is the way that it is. You can't be exempt from it. We all are. We are all the reason the world is the way that it is. It is not just billionaires or exploitation of the rich to the poor. It's all of us. Because otherwise we could just move off good data and all agree on what's right and wrong and do it. But we can't, okay? So watch this, and then I'm gonna read one more comment, and this will solidify my thoughts on this topic. Oopsies, hold on, you gotta hear it. Where's, hello? Okay.
Oh gosh, this is hard to open. We're gonna pray. Heavenly Father, I ask you, Lord, in Jesus' mighty, mighty name, for you to be my husband. You are my husband, and I ask you, Lord, to just open this can because I know I asked the Lord, but that is insane. It was so God is so good. Do we not understand how amazing our Father is? Like, he really is all of us as a church, our groom, our husband, and he just wants to be a part of everything. And now I feel so convicted because, first of all, how did I have such little faith? Like, I really didn't believe that he was going to turn up. And second of all, how do I not bring him into so many aspects of my life?
This comment, my mom literally is dying from cancer. And it's like, yeah, bro, he opened your door, your lid, but my mom is dying from cancer. Okay, look at this comment I got here. Oh, hold on here. Oop, hello? Look at this. La, 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 la. It says, because we're talking about subjective reality, subjective morality. So I think there is like a real reality. The question is like, what is it? Is it the girl who's opening up a jar and thinks like God interceded and helped her open it? Is it the fact that we're watching billionaires look pretty and we're busy gushing over what they look like instead of recognizing like these are evil fucking people? Is it the fact that we allow these people to stand up here and think they're good people while hanging out with the most evil people on the planet? Like, what is it? Okay. This comment says, so is there any subjective universe rape could morally be okay based on your first statement in this video? I don't think you think there is, but I'm curious for that train of thought because I don't believe in objective morality, right? That's how we've been trained to think about morality because you're still not deconstructing patriarchy or specifically Christianity from your thought process, right? It's a good question. But the reason the question has to be asked is because Christians have been brainwashing you forever to believe in objective morality through God. So when I say there's no objective morality, you start to think that I don't think there's a right and wrong, right? And I said, I can go deeper on stream tomorrow, but we already live in a subjective universe where rape is considered morally okay. Donald Trump is president. Russell Brand got up here and said, yes, I had sex with a 16-year-old, but it was legal. Child marriage is happening right now in the United States and around the world. We absolutely live in a universe where rape is already seen as okay. Otherwise, the world would look very different. Okay? So even the myth, even the idea that we live in a world where it's not morally okay is such a joke. You know what I mean? But I understand the question because we've been trained by Christianity, we've been trained by patriarchy to actually buy into a narrative that men are going to protect us against who? You know what I mean? So we watch these billionaires, we exist in these bubbles, and then there's this whole connection, right? This whole thing is connected to me where like they think we don't get it, and maybe we don't. Actually, hold on. This TikTok actually says it really well. Look at this TikTok. Hold on.
Sanchez Bezos wants you to think she's in on the bit. She showed up to the Met Gala in a custom Schiaparelli dress based off the painting Portrait of Madame X, which famously hangs in the Met. In the 1800s, when it was first released, it was scandalous. It was called vulgar. One reviewer even said that it was just made for the purpose of being talked about and provoking argument. And obviously, the Bezoses sponsoring the Met Gala has caused a lot of controversy. But here's what you're missing, Lauren. According to the Met Union, 91% of hourly staff at the Met make less than a living wage. 19% of salaried staff make less annually than one ticket to the Met Gala costs. And custom couture Schiaparelli can cost over $100,000 for one dress. So unlike the Portrait of Madame X, Lauren Sanchez Bezos isn't just scandal for the sake of scandal. She's tapping into why people have started to hate the Met Gala, that it is run by oligarchs, while the people who actually work at the Met struggle. So while the Portrait of Madame X ended up being timeless, in the end, I don't think Lauren Sanchez Bezos can outrun her own scandal.
Okay, now I'm going to tie this in to YouTubers. I know what you're thinking, but Brittany, And I'm going to say, oh, you'll see it, girlies. The same thing is happening on YouTube because it happens in every social group. The reason the epitome of what meditation and enlightenment looks like is a solitary human being in the forest is because human beings suck ass. Period. Like, we suck. And because we suck, the only imagery of what we think enlightenment could look like is me as far away from you as possible. Okay? I know. What? Trust me, it makes sense, okay? So, recently on the internet, there is drama, okay? Hold on, let me set this up. Hold on, let me get the tech. Hold on, let me make sure that my video is correct. Hold on, give me a second. I just realized it's not set up properly, and that really annoys me. What's this girl's name? Hold on, I should have. Doothie, got it. I'm locked in. Okay. Did you guys see me? I saw some of you there. I was in Elliot Singh's chat last night and he was talking about Doothie. And then FD Signifier made a video too. Oh, FD Signifier made a video too. So here I am. I'm in Elliot's chat. FD's making a video. My Discord talked about Doothie's video. I watched Doothie's video on my own and I just thought to myself, okay, yeah, it's pretty good. Who is Doothie? So FD has a stream channel. And he wrote that YouTube has always been slop. And I want to use his video, sections of it, to have this conversation. And I'm going to bounce between people. Okay, check this out.
You open up YouTube recommendations to find something to watch with your meal.
That's Doothie. Look, that's Doothie. And she put together this set all by herself. Hold on, let me move my video so you can actually see her. She really like made an effort on this video.
Recommendations are...
I think, is Doothie a they, them, or is she, her? I think it might be a she, her. It might be a they, them. Let me know.
About the same topic. The performative main character syndromification
and they made all these puppets. Doothie made all these puppets.
of macho men's male gaze. Weaponized media literacy, much anyone?
Guys, it's the AI group. We're gonna laugh at them and talk about how bad they are. Take that, AI.
It feels, dare I say, corporate, and that's why capitalism is not good. Anyway, today's sponsor is a scented water bottle subscription service. So join me as I break down the slow, painful decline of commentary YouTube and deep dive this era I call There's Nothing Left to Say, Please Shut Up, Oh God, Shut Up, It Hurts.
First off, big props.
Okay, pause. First, I just want to comment on some stuff. Okay, first, hold on. My tech is really failing me at this moment, and I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Okay, first, I just want to say I am a YouTuber, and I do make money doing this, and I try to do it in the most ethical way possible. I do currently have like 20 different sponsor emails in my inbox offering me like $300 to do paid posts or $1,000 to do paid posts or whatever, insert money here to pay posts. And I don't know how to engage with any of that, honestly, because I don't know. A part of me is like, I don't need money that bad. And a part of me is like, damn, I'd really like that money. But also a part of me is like, I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable. And a part of me is like, I'm waiting for the right sponsorship. Okay. Maybe I'll hold out. And if I ever grow really big, I'll wait for the big bucks. But like, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm not going to sell my soul for $300 or $1,000 or even $5,000. Like, come on now. But it's one of those things where I see creatives all the time on this internet talk about how they make money and talk about how hard it is, which is true. Like any job, it's hard unless you're very, very popular or you can guarantee a certain amount of income and viewership every time, which is a part of this larger conversation. So what happens is, as we reviewed the Met Gala just a second ago, in that same Met Gala event, there will be billionaires and there will be people with $2,000 in their bank account who just happen to be able to be there. And so same thing with YouTube, same thing with any job. You can all work at Amazon and there'll be people making $500,000 a year and $15 an hour. You can all be YouTubers where some people make $20,000 to $10,000 and some people make $1 million to $34 million, right? We all make money differently. But the irony is that the audience is ultimately the most responsible for whether or not people get popular, which plays into what this video is, this whole topic is. Because this is a conversation around slop being more popular than well thought out content. It's not just how much goes into content, it's about the commentary of the content, right? It is true, there does seem to be a trajectory of success that the more serious you are and the more complicated it is, the less views you'll get. The more challenging it is to the audience, the less views you'll get. Now, let's also eradicate from this conversation everyone who just makes really bad content. Okay, let's assume even the people that are making less views or less money are making really good content. It's just the audience doesn't want it. This is where capitalism will say, right? Like, the market's the market. The market decides. And they say, you decide. But you'll say, no, it's the algorithm. The algorithm is deciding for me. But it's kind of a give or take. Sort of is the algorithm, but yet it's also you not clicking on the video, or you not engaging with the topic, or you not being interested. Because you have to be interested. Because companies don't care. They just want to know what you want to see. And if they can get you to like it, they will. And ultimately, we are the most drawn to, apparently, negativity, things that make us argue, and honestly, like eating disorders, whether it's gym talk or skinny talk. We love to see body transformations. We want to know about your mental health, how much money you make, and what you look like, right? So if it isn't pertaining to those three things in a superficial way, nobody cares. And of course, we like to make fun of people, which plays into this commentary stuff that we're going to talk about today. And this isn't coming from some moral hierarchy. Like, I'm not trying to make fun of people or say like, oh, you're not making good. Contrary, I love slop content. I have such a love for slop content that I am one of those people. I just also watch all the other people, right? Okay, so keep that in mind as we go through this, that this is a battle of, okay, people who make content, but exist in different places on that same, in that same arena, which FD is about to acknowledge himself. Okay, here we go.
To just the intro, puppets and clocking the commentary, language, mumbo jumbo. So intro eight, right?
Really sitting down and listening to what the creator is saying, you realize they aren't really saying anything. I want to highlight a video that I think is a good example of this. And the reason I chose this video is not to drag this creator specifically, but it's because he said something really interesting twice throughout the video. Breaking the fourth wall, he says.
And since I still have to burn at least 5 more minutes in this video, let's go deeper. Yeah, let's trace the origins of this contagion. For no other reason than I need to stretch this video out for watch time.
But instead of going deeper, he just shows random TikToks about white tank tops. Now, this creator is what I like to call the surface skimmer.
Oh, he responded. Let me see. I kind of want to see
so
this.
A couple times while I was making my YouTube commentary meta video, an even more meta video came out.
We watched Mark for the first time like a month ago or so. So we've only, on stream, I think I've only seen one of his videos.
Talking about...
And it was fun. It was like goofy. It was about Love is Blind, I think. And it was like, right, that's the same guy. It was goofy. It was fun. But it was like Cody Co content. That's what I call it. Chat also love Chat. I only watch Chat twice a year, maybe though. Just disclaimer. Cody Co I don't watch anymore, obviously, after everything came out with Tana Mojo. But I call it like kind of like turn my brain off content, where I love it. I love commentary. I used to watch H3 for the same reason. It was like turn my brain off content. Frenemies was like my turn my brain off content. And I realized through this discourse, one of the things that I think is happening is that people don't want to be known as the turn my brain off content. But at least you get views and you're very popular. Like, you make a lot of money compared to somebody like me who's always like, Brittany, your stream always makes me think. It's always so hard for me. Oh my God, Brittany, like your content's a lot. Sometimes it's too much for me. Yeah, but at least I'm lucky enough to make a living. I don't make as much as these people, obviously, but I make a living talking about like pretty intense stuff. I agree. But yet, I also like their content. Like, I like Chat's content. But again, maybe it would be different if I watched her all the time, which I can't all the time, but I do like her. You know what I mean? If I see it, I'm in the mood, I'll watch her. So that's the thing, is like, what is the show? What is the thing we watch to turn off our brain? It's hard because, you know, everything comes back to philosophy for me. But this is what I'm trying to say. Like, I think these people are probably offended that Duthie said that your commentary is bad. But isn't she right? Because isn't it supposed to be turn your brain off content? It's kind of supposed to be bad. It's supposed to be basic. Like, don't be mean to each other. And everyone's like, yes. You know what I mean? You ate with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's supposed to be like, you know, it's supposed to be that. Like, you say the most basic shit and people go, oh my God. You know, that's the point of it. That's why Ethan from H3, I think, was so shocked when his audience turned on him. Because while he was saying basic shit that we all were like, yeah. And then when he stopped doing it, we were like, what are you doing? He's like, wait, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, Ethan got popular for agreeing with Hassan and or saying, yes, gay people, yes, this minority person, yes, this, you know what I mean? Okay.
Me and other commentary creators. So no bullshit. I'm just gonna get straight to the point. This video is weak. like really weak. And I'm not just saying that because 20% of the video is criticizing me.
I'm re-uploading this video that I spent 8 months on to implore you, the viewer, to watch this and form your own opinion. Was I too harsh, or are commentary YouTubers scared that people are waking up to slob content?
Okay, so this is a purposeful misrepresentation of the facts, and Duthie knows it. She somewhat clarifies herself in a pinned comment, believes in the fact that she was fundamentally scared into compliance by this apparent group chat of rich and powerful commentators. The reality is that her original video was a collaboration with another YouTube commentary creator, Saji Sharma, who also promoted the video himself on his own YouTube channel and Instagram. Saji, who is a friend of Duthie, is also in a group chat with...
Wait, am I getting drama pilled? The tea is getting hot.
Some of whom were understandably taken aback by him participating in and promoting a YouTube video thumbnail depicting some of them and or their friends.
Hold on. Let's look at this thumbnail because I actually think it's a pretty good thumbnail. So Chad, who we like, but yes, makes turn your brain off content. Curtis Connor, I agree, makes the same kind of content. What's his name? Hold on, don't tell me. Film Cooper, I never liked Film Cooper though. Can I just say this? I told you guys when I reviewed Film Cooper over a year ago, trust me, he's not a real one. You give in to these boys so quickly. These boys say one fucking thing that sounds leftist and everyone's like, oh, and stop. Stop giving all these men social credit for being anti-rape. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ. So I told you I did not like Film Cooper. Okay, Jarvis, I can't get into Jarvis's content, but I've heard good things about him. Same with Curtis Connor. I don't like their content. I like Chad. And even Chad I only watch twice a year. But those other boys, I just don't... I'm sure they're nice, but I just don't think they think about anything. You know what I mean? I just feel like they're not thinking. And that's their content. Their content is, I say basic nice shit and people love it, and that's it. And that's fine. And that's fine. I think they don't like that. I think they're probably upset that they make superficial content. But don't, because we need it in our life too. I need something to watch when I'm eating. You know what I mean?
Friends as clown marionettes whose strings, I guess, are being pulled by big commentary with the words "shut up" above. I'm not in that group chat, by the way. I guess I don't have enough juice, to get into the commentary Illuminati, but that's okay. But it's not an Illuminati. It's a group chat of people who are peers and friends.
Yeah, it is an Illuminati. I'm not in that group chat. I don't know none of these motherfuckers. I'm gonna let them cook, and then I'm gonna give my personal opinion. But first, I'm gonna let them cook. And one thing I want to say is, it is an Illuminati. It's not Illuminati like on some secret society shit, but like, being in those and being like connected to these other large creators does create consolidation of power. Maybe. I mean, generally speaking, that's just what happens with clout. I'm in multiple group chats. I'm in group chats with all the OG cornbread motherfuckers. I'm in group chats with just homies that I like. I'm in group chats with Nebula group chats, which connected me to other big YouTuber group chats, OG breads. I'm in a lot of group chats. Right? And for the most part, I don't see nothing crazy, but I also don't be in there. But to act like the group chats are benign, perfect example. Remember when the dislike bar disappeared? I saw that coming. I knew it was gonna happen, and I'm not gonna front. I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And it's only used to harass and harangue minority and marginalized creators. And I'm not gonna name names, but some of your favorite big YouTubers were very much against this shit with all kinds of whack ass arguments on some libertarian bullshit. So on the flip side, right, I'm in community with creators where another community of creators I'm in, they don't fuck with each other. Bellamy knows what I'm talking about. And this is like various different angles, right? There's people I like that people I also like don't like them people. And I think that's good. The people I still fuck with have never came to me like, why do you fuck with X? And people I don't fuck with no more in prior times consistently been like, stop fucking with X. X is this, X is that. You can't fuck with X, Y, and Z. And it wasn't Hassan. Hassan is never, I fuck with a lot of people that cannot stand Hassan. That's why I get tired of talking about that motherfucker. Cause like people be coming to me like I'm Hassan's manager. I text with Hassan once every couple of months. I go on that motherfucking stream once a year, maybe. And niggas act like I'm Hassan's handler. Like, unless it's like some super problematic shit or it's deeply personal, this should not have caused a problem. Especially from a small creator. It'd be different if like I knew Lindsay Ellis was about to drop the big H-Bomber guy is bad and here's why video, right? When it's like big audience drama, some shit, then I'd be like, hey, y'all might need to think that through. Y'all talk it out, whatever. Because that does mean something, right? H-Bomb ended a nigga's career on the timeline. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not saying small creators can't beef. I'm saying big creators should never beef with small creators, especially behind the scene. They definitely shouldn't pull shit like this. What's considered small, middle, and big? So small is anything under 100K. You're small. No shade. No shade.
I agree.
But if you're under 100K, you're small.
Yeah, I agree.
Medium-sized creator is like 300K to like, well, 100 to 300K is medium size, and large is like 500K and above. And then there's like the super giants. I don't even know, like, I don't know, fucking...
Like Penguin Zero has like
Mr. Beast or some shit.
Yeah, like
but
20 million subs, 20 million subs, 100 million subs. Like girlies, come on.
Right. If you're a large creator and a small creator throws rocks at the throne, you got to take that shit on the chin. Not just on some moral shit, on some like, to me, that's just cold shit. You got to take that on the chin for the good of your own channel, for the good of your own actual work. Because the truth of the matter is, small creators critiquing you is not going to affect you. And the minute you say something back to them, it actually helps them out. If you want to like squash beef and talk to a person privately, I'm not going to tell people not to do that. I've done that. But if you're privately trying to squash a small...
Here's the problem. I agree with all of this. I think there's a lot of stuff happening behind the closed door that I want people to pay attention to, which is like, especially if you say you're on the left, right? Doothy's video, you can criticize it, but generally if you watched it, it's a pretty good commentary about these channels because again, because listen, and I will say this as a person who isn't as big as these creators, I should be, but I'm not because my content is literally less digestible to people. It just is. And I know that, and I still make a full-time living doing this, but it is literally less digestible. If I talk to a marketing team right now, they'd say, Brittany, you're too controversial. You're not digestible enough. The vocabulary is too intense. You're using words people don't use in their vocabulary. You need to make it lighter, more digestible. And I would say, I can't. Like it would make me feel bad. Like it would, I don't know if it's just because I'm autistic too, but like I would feel bad. Obviously, these people don't feel bad, right? Like, look, do you think I don't want to turn around and be a successful, fun commentary channel that gets 100,000 views every fucking video? That's like $500 to $1,000 a video. You know what I'm saying? You think I don't want to do that? It just feels bad. You know what I mean? It just kind of feels icky. Okay, now some people do it as successfully, but even so, like, even the YouTubers I watch whose commentary can be pretty like intense, it is generally much more digestible. I mean, look at us talking about veganism for 2 days, and I've had to repeat 1,000 times that plant-based is not veganism. Most creators would never have spent this much time on it. Most creators wouldn't have even talked about it this way. They would have made a funny joke and moved on. But this is why I do philosophy, because I want to talk about the differences. And I want to, I want you to know I'm annoyed with you for not understanding there's a difference when I've told you there's a difference. So I need you to go, oh, there's a difference. Let me figure it out. If I told you there's a difference between a Toyota and a BMW and you're like, but like, what's the difference? They're both cars. There's a difference. Okay. So when we have these conversations, but that's where I get excited. So I've been waiting. You know what's so funny? I have been waiting for someone to critique my work. Somebody I respect. Because usually when these small channels and these boys especially critique my work, they don't even understand it. That's why it's not fun. If Doothy like critiqued my work the way she would critique their work, I think it'd be so exciting. The difference is they don't want to be critiqued because they're not actually trying to be better. They're not actually trying to do something here. They're actually just trying to have fun and make a paycheck, right? So Elliot Singh talked about this on their stream. Let me go to his stream. Hold on. Look at this part of it about criticism, okay?
First, though, fundamentally, the big problem is there's a lack of self-critique, right? It's like what I said in the intro. People are very used to criticizing other things because that's safe, because that's fun, and because social media incentivizes that. So when I think about the bad thing, I'm thinking about somebody else doing it. But when you really care about solving the problem, when you really care about ending the bad thing, that's when you're in a process of thinking about yourself doing it. Does that make sense? I have talked about this before. I think it's a fundamental problem that we're all having right now, where we don't want to criticize ourselves. We're always the person that needs to get less attention on them. We don't want to be shamed. We don't want to be criticized too much. We say we're open to criticism, but then we don't follow through on that. We lack the gumption to sit through a criticism that makes us feel uncomfortable.
Okay, so you know how Doothy's video, she says like, she's like a puppet and she's like, capitalism is evil. And oh my gosh, also buy my subscription. This happened with why am I forgetting Michael's name? Am I having a stroke? Michael Burns. Michael Burns made this video about getting outside and touching grass and being an anti-capitalist, and then it ended up being a sponsor video, and it felt so fucking weird where I was like, Michael! And like, it's stuff like that. And at the same time, and this is very interesting to me, at the same time, is it okay to put ads on a video about Palestine? Because the truth is, you're not going to get monetized for it. But then if creators aren't going to get monetized, they really can't afford to talk about it. So if they can't find a way to supplement when they talk about Palestine, then they're never going to talk about it because we don't make enough money to talk about Palestine, right? Like every time I show news from Palestine, every time I show news from Lebanon, guys, I make no money. I need you to understand that. And I don't make enough money to do this all the time. So every time I do a stream about Lebanon or Palestine or something in Sudan, something happening, I have to talk to my partner about it. And I have to say like, hey, we're going to have less money this week. And like, that is as a small creator or like now a newly mid-sized creator, I guess, it's like, that's the part that's like this. It's like, uh-oh. And like, again, everyone lives on a different budget. Everyone has different needs. Everyone lives in a different country. But like most of us are not making six figures. Okay. So when we have this conversation, you know, it would be very different. If I was making like a secure 6 figures a year, I wouldn't even think about it. Fuck yeah. I'll talk about Palestine once a week, baby, twice a week. You know what I mean? But the dilemma is, okay, is that's not the case. And then remember, the money we make on YouTube isn't taxed. So when you give a super chat, I have to take tax out for that. So if you give me a $30 super chat, okay, YouTube takes their cut automatically, and then I have to pay tax on whatever my cut is. So it's not like, oh, we're just making money. You know, like Asmund was bragging on Caleb's finance show about how much he paid in taxes. He paid $4 million in taxes. That means he made between 10 and maybe 15 million. No one is making that money except the big guys. Okay? So I need you to understand that. That is not my experience. Okay? I do not owe the tax man millions of dollars. Okay? So these other streamers that are misunderstanding their place are also forgetting that they make a lot more money. So let me show you this just for context. Okay? Let me go to Chat since I know her channel the best. Okay, just for context, okay? Chat has 3 million subscribers. And Chat got 2 million views on this video. She probably made $20,000 on AdSense alone. Could have been less though. And 2 months before that, and 2 months, look at 1 million views, 4 million views, 5 million views. You can assume that on a 1 million view video, you're making between 6 and 10K. Okay? So that's just on AdSense, let alone if she's putting ads or getting sponsorships or wherever she's bringing in extra money, memberships. Okay? That is very different than even like your subscriber count to your view count, because that also matters. You can have a big number and no one watching, right? So when these creators sit there and go, hey, like, why are you talking about my content? Now, Mark was different. Mark's a smaller channel. Mark, does anybody know Mark's name? Uh-oh. Let's see. Why did everybody come up except for Mark's actual channel? What is Mark's name? Trying to figure out, because I think Mark has a much smaller channel. Damn, talk about not knowing somebody. Mark Encinco? Mark in, there he is. Okay. So Mark has 169,000 subscribers, so not a very big channel at all. But let's look at his views. Okay, great views though. Killer views, bro. And the last 2 months, he's definitely made it probably at least $10,000. Like he probably made let's say he made 2,000, 1,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. Let's say he's at least made $8,000 in the last 2 months. I guarantee you, by the way, that is like very minimal. Like that is very, I think, conservative. Okay. That's not bad. Right. But he's definitely probably making more than that. He's probably made more than that in the last 2 months. That's just AdSense, by the way. That's not memberships. It's not sponsorships. And that is a very conservative guesstimation. So when he says to a creator who has like 8,000 subscribers, who's worked 8 months on a single video, when he pumps out videos all the time, right? That is a very different, thing that's happening. You guys know I had a run-in with Lindsay Ellis and Natalie Wynn years and years ago, where behind the scenes, they talked badly about me, a much smaller and inconsequential creator that was only brought into the scene because Natalie invited me. I wouldn't have been there if Natalie didn't invite me, right? And then they tried to, behind the scenes, cause problems. And it was very hard at the time. I'm a much older person now. We're much older now. But the fact is like this happens and it will happen forever because people are not working on themselves. They're not wanting to be critiqued. They're also not wanting to even be responsible for the way that they show up. Okay? So this is the problem with this whole scene. I mean, look what happened with Destiny a couple years ago. I said on stream, do not take advice from him. He's a serial cheater and he's a bad parent. And he decided to send his community after me for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even say the thing that's true. Can I not just say the thing that's true? If you want to disagree with me, we can talk about it. But from my observation, this is what I'm saying. Now, after Elliot is done speaking, I'm going to show you a scene where FD was recently criticized by a small creator. And FD responded very well to the criticism. Okay?
The ability to sit with discomfort. And if you can't sit with discomfort, you cannot create. You cannot create because creation is dialectics, it's conflict, it's contradiction. You have to put yourself in difficult situations sometimes. You have to sit with difficult feelings so that you can write about them.
And also the fact that Mark, I'll show you clips probably. When Mark, I say probably because I have a lot of clips to show you, but Mark did this thing where he was like, Doothy's community was bothering Chad. First of all, don't do that. And second of all, do you think Doothy has a community with 8,000 subs? Or do you think haters from your own communities were finally happy somebody was saying something and they decided to bombard Chad and everybody else? And yes, Doothy should do something about that. Like, that's why I say, do not bother other people on other people's channels. If you have something dramatic to say it on my channel in my comment section. Don't go to other people's comment sections about the people I talk about.
So that you can talk about them, so that you can reflect and learn things from them. Somebody who has just not felt any discomfort, they're not going to have anything to say. And a lot of you are feeling that discomfort, but you're trying to avoid it. And so you have the lived experience of somebody who goes through a lot of discomfort, but you don't have any of the reflections of somebody who's been through it because you're avoiding even talking about it. Kavisha, I agree with the lack of self-critique. When I talk to people, I notice a lot of people understand how they are being wronged, but very few of us understand how we might be wronging someone. And without this good self-critique, not only do we act like this in society, but then our creations tend to suck.
And this is how you get the Met Gala. This is how you get billionaires. This is how exploitation happens to us. Like, again, we are all responsible for the way that the world is. So we are responsible for how we allow exploitation to happen to us, and we are victims of exploitation. It's not about victim blaming. It's about, as adults, taking responsibility and not saying, well, I'm just going to engage in bad because the whole world is ending anyways. You can't say that and say I'm being exploited. You are being exploited, and now you're not doing anything about it. So that's why I think like this move for class consciousness, like though it has good intentions, can happen in a bigoted, like non-introspective world. Like, it took so long for just individuals to get there. Now imagine getting the collective to get there. Okay. So I agree. We are all being exploited, and the billionaires exploit your vulnerabilities. Like your desire to want your Uber Eats, like your desire for convenience allows the exploitation. And then you go out of sight, out of mind. I don't care how my actions are hurting other people. I don't care how my actions are hurting the planet. I don't care how about my actions are doing this. Because look, the billionaires are destroying the planet over here. Yeah, but how do they become billionaires? Partially our participation. And it's not just leftists, by the way. I'm not criticizing leftists. I mean, 90% of the guys, if you are a leftist, you're a minority. The criticism is for the majority: centrists, liberals, Republicans, Democrats, people who are engaging in some myth that they're going to make capitalism work for their family and it's going to liberate them out of, poverty or something, right? Having kids just so they can make money for your family. Having children you name Junior. Having daughters you expect to get pregnant and married. Like, of course the system is exploiting you. You buy into it every day. And I'm saying I've been there. I'm doing it now probably in many ways I haven't thought about yet. But we're always participants in how the world is. It cannot happen without all of us participating.
You have to deconstruct your own socialization. And you have to build out your philosophy. Simone Weil talks about philosophy as a thing that you live. Your lived experience is your philosophy.
Philosophy is something you live. Exactly. Veganism is a philosophy. That's why I'm not a vegan yet, because I don't live it philosophically, even though I'm plant-based, right? But philosophy, okay, it lived. You live your philosophy. That's what I'm trying to do every day. Okay, I'm trying to live my philosophy. I'm embodying it. I'm not just saying it and pretending. It's something that that's why I try to be honest with, I'm not there yet. I'm not where that is. I'm not there. Okay, which is very important because it's all about stepping stones. FD talks about this in the same video where he says, like, I love when people grow past my content. Don't I say this all the time in my content? I am so happy when my content isn't where you need it to be. I cannot wait for you to grow past it or grow with me wherever your journey is, right? But there's nothing wrong with growing past content creators. And that's what I think. That's why, guys, I think ultimately there's no humility here. Those original content creators that are upset with Doothy's video, it's their ego. FD, grow past me. Brittany Simon, grow past me. Elliot saying, all of us would say, grow past the content. Only these creators are upset they're losing subscribers and they're upset about a video. Your ego's in the way, Habibi. I'm sure you're not bad people, but your ego's in the way.
You can't just have ideas because you're sitting in a room having ideas and you never experience discomfort in that process. You go to the factory and you work among other factory workers, and then you have better thoughts about how factory life is and about the working condition of the average person. Yeah, you got to work on your arrogance presentation and not hurting others like Diara is working on. Danelle says, I think it's also a result of the self-care movement, i.e. I don't owe anyone anything. Yeah, that's connected. I think that's related and connected, and I think in some places it's a result of that. We are all doing this Western thing of trying to figure out how to avoid as much discomfort as possible. We think that good living and better world is something that comes about from eliminating as much discomfort as possible. How do I get everything that I want without suffering? And it's like, this is not.
And that's why I say unwise suffering is the key. The goal is not to eradicate suffering. The goal is to suffer wisely. The problem with the world is we are so unnecessarily suffering, and it's coming at the expense of ourselves and others.
To sound like some sort of arch conservative who's like, people just don't work hard enough.
Right,
but when it comes to your intellect, your ability to produce things of worth, your ability to do things that matter to you, that's going to mean sitting with some uncomfortable feelings.
Okay, this plays into, I'm going to skip around for a second. I know this sounds crazy, but this plays into this video that's been going viral lately. Just stay with me for 2 seconds. Oops, hello?
At universities all around the country, professors are reporting a problem. Students can't read books. This is true even at elite colleges and universities. In one required class at Columbia, students are often expected to read about a book a week. But in the past couple of years, students have started telling their professors that they can't do it. One student told her professor that she had never been required to read an entire book. This is part of a larger trend. People aren't reading anymore. This is true for men and women, people who went to college and people who didn't. So what's going on? Well, it turns out that there are many pieces to this puzzle, but it all begins with how we teach kids to read.
Okay, pause. This is an interesting video, okay? And I think we should finish it by the end of stream. But what I want you to focus on is that girl. I wish I had pulled up her video on time. This girl on TikTok was talking about how people were doubting she was reading a book a week. But to me, and of a lot of us who have read that, we're like, that's easy. Like a book a week? That's easy. Like, why are people saying that it's hard? And because what they're having is like a very different experience with what reading looks like. Oh, I can't remember the original TikToker. But when people started to doubt her, what they were doubting was they doubt her the way they doubt me when I say I'm on TikTok all day and I don't have a problem. Because I forget my brain and her brain and our brains, we're not having the same relationship with content. Like, I don't know if this is my autism or my brain, but I said this the other day in stream. Sometimes I feel like a fraud when I know I'm diagnosed autistic and diagnosed fibromyalgia and I'm diagnosed. But then sometimes I feel like a fraud because I'm able to do things that other people tell me they're unable to do because of the same thing I'm suffering from. But what they're really saying is, I'm sure there's a deeper reason for why this is happening to me, but it seems to be my relationship with this thing that's causing this issue. So I can't do it, so I don't believe you can do it. And I'm sitting here going like, but if I can do it, does that mean I'm not sick? Does that mean I don't have a disability? Does that mean I don't have problems? Or what does that mean, right? I also think this coincides with people going to college just to get a job instead of people going to college to learn, or people honing in a craft to actually be good at it, not people who are trying to get rich off their craft. When I was younger, my parents were really positive and encouraging. When I would make scarves, like my bestie taught me how to make scarves, crochet, and we would just make scarves for each other and have so much fun. And then eventually my mom was like, oh my God, you should sell those. So I got it into my head that I should sell them. And then my parents would overpay me for the scarves. They would pay me too much, like way more than the scarf was worth, right? And I wasn't even that good at it to make that kind of money. I wasn't. And then what that fed me was an assumption. What my parents thought they were helping me, they were actually setting up the wrong expectation. The expectation that I could produce at any age a basic product and just assume I would make a lot of money from it. Instead of saying, when you've perfected this, when you've gotten more professional at it, when you've gotten better at it, you could make a business on it. And I think though they had good intentions, what I had to learn was I needed to deconstruct that concept that I was good enough because I made it. Same with YouTube videos. My videos will hopefully get better as I age. My content has gotten better over the years, right? Like, yes, some people make some of the shittiest content you've ever seen and they go viral, and who knows why that is. Some people make the most high-tech, amazing content and they never get views. It's not about that. But it is about understanding that YouTube videos are not just about making content. They're about thumbnails and titles and topics and algorithms. Being a good YouTuber is also about being good at the algorithm. And I am a pretty bad YouTuber still, as you can tell by my view count. I'm still very bad at playing to thumbnails and titles. I've just always been bad at it. And it's because my brain doesn't know, and this goes back to the content we're talking about here, it doesn't quite know what is the thing that I could make every day for 20 years that's cookie cutter and make me views, like Cody Ko. Elliot Singh talked about how Cody Ko figured out an algorithmic consistency that benefited Cody, got him a house, 2 houses, basically paid his life wages because people loved the consistency. That's usually what makes people popular. Any change to it really fucks with people. Okay, I haven't figured it out yet, but one day I will, right? So watch this section here. But that is a part of the job. Now, the way that I get my artistic kind of buttons pressed is I create things that I know won't hit and I accept it. Like I made a vegan commentary video for my Bert Simon channel and I knew it probably wasn't going to hit, and it hasn't. I think it reached like 7K views. And it just like, I knew that was going to happen. And that's a financial hit that I take. But I also prefer to give myself one video that really feels like it's for me 100% versus like for the algorithm. And yet, this is why I say being an artist is such a privilege. And yet it's very, very hard, which is why I tell you, do not tell your kids you can be YouTubers easy. It's not easy. Okay, it's very hard. But it's also as hard as any other job is, because all jobs are hard. Labor is hard. This is why women eventually get told being a mom isn't hard. As if making and pushing a baby out of your body isn't hard. As if taking care of and nursing and cleaning after a baby isn't hard. This is the problem with humanity, is we're always comparing. So we do this thing instead of saying like, why aren't I as famous as this person? Or why isn't my heart as... Ask yourself for yourself how it is. The reason I'm a full-time YouTuber now versus before is I don't compare myself to others anymore. Like I see it from a very analytical, logical lens. but I don't compare my humanity to other people. I don't think Cody Ko's a better person than me because he's more popular. I don't think Cody Ko's a better YouTuber because he makes more views than me. Cody Ko's a bad person. You know what I mean? So sometimes the most popular and famous people are some of the worst people you know. Going back to the Met Gala, we look at the Met Gala and we think to ourselves, oh my God, they're so pretty. They must be good people. I want that. What did they have to do to get there? What did they have to do to get there? Okay? And I'm saying a lot of us are playing a game that's trying to make a living without having to do what they did. We'll never be as famous. We'll never be as rich, but at least we can pay our rent. Look at this.
Because he presented himself as relatable, because
this is the Cody Ko section.
Platformed huge and heavy because he presented himself as relatable, because a lot of the videos were funny. You know, there are a lot of like big funny videos, in part because of the co-star, really. And because of that, he basically just created a gold-plated bed for himself to lay in forever. You know, he has a huge amount of support still, even having like taken a huge public image L and lost a lot of fans. Because so many people take that time to just elevate somebody who just seems like they don't hate women, and they're kind of funny, and they're not averse to having more than one thought in their head at a time. Crimes New Roman gets at the...
And this is the thing. But this is the thing. It's not the algorithm. It's not the systems. It is you. This is why philosophy is so hard, because it is you, right? Like, it's you. You won't click on the thumbnail. You won't watch the videos. You don't like the titles. You can blame the companies all you want, but the way the algorithm works, guys, is the algorithm gives people interested in this sphere the content. Okay, I'll give you an example of how it works, because I promise you, I know you don't know how it works, so you don't get it. But okay, here's you. This is how the YouTube algorithm works. This is you. When you watch a video, it's connected to a bubble, and that bubble is connected to these bubbles, and this bubble is connected to this bubble, okay? And this connected is here, and this is here. And YouTube goes, okay, show them this content. Okay, that's it. And then if you go, actually, I'd like to watch this bubble over here. Now YouTube goes, okay, scratch this. They don't like this anymore. They want this. And then this. And then, oh, this content. Okay. And I'm saying you get to decide what content you watch, because YouTube wants to give you what you want to watch. And so if you pay attention to certain topics of the internet, if you're in one niche of the internet, YouTube shows you every community connected to that niche. But you don't have to be directly in the niche to be recommended the videos, because the niche is connected to your niche. Like, if you're only watching food videos, they might show you gym videos related to food recipes or vegan videos related to food and consumption. But they're not going to show you rollerblading fashion trends from the 70s. Because food TikTok or food YouTube has nothing to do with fashion trends from the 70s. But if you're into holistic food gardening from in vintage ways, now you might get some rollerblade fashion from the 70s. Okay? So what I'm saying is, these people sit in offices every day and find ways to exploit your algorithmic brain, because our brains are pattern recognizing brains. Okay? That's what we like. And it goes, oh, I know this thumbnail style. I'll click on this thumbnail style because I know what to expect now. When I change my thumbnails, it changes the type of person who watches my content. You say it doesn't matter, but the views are the views. The proof is in the pudding. That's the problem. We say we're pro-life, but we're supporting a genocide. We say we care about babies, but we only care about fetuses. We say we care. All of us are complicit. Okay? We say we care about ocean animals, but we litter. We say this, we say this, we say this. The point is, you have to contend with the reality that the world is the way that it's supposed to be, because it's exactly how we want it to be. We want the world to be like this, and we're just not ready to admit it. Just like you want to eat meat, you just want to say it's for other reasons, but you want to eat meat, and that's okay. Say you want to eat meat. Or, loophole, you're actually in a very difficult positioning, and you actually do want the world to be different, but you're doing the best you can and you've done your work, right? Okay. But generally, you can't say if you are the exception to this rule, then none of this should offend you. If you've already known this, nothing I should say should matter to you. Generally, though, It can't be true. Generally, 90% of the population has got to be operating just like I used to be, just like you used to be, because it is the way the world is. The world can't be mostly like us and then mostly like this, because we don't do this. My daily life does not engage in the world in the way that these people are engaging with the world. I'm not a part of some YouTube group thread where I'm talking about smaller creators. So there's no video that's ever going to be made about Brittany Simons in this group thread. I'm not in any group thread. So there can't be a video like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So for the fact that there is a group thread that is making fun of Doothy's videos, that is talking smack, means you would have to be people in a group thread having the conversations. That's what I'm saying, right? Okay, go back to FD now. Now we're swinging back.
A creator on some kingpin shit, I think that's whack. But I'm just saying, I think it's whack. If you are behind the scenes and you're a larger creator and a smaller creator says something about you that you don't like and it's true, then I can't fuck with that. But I just want to point out the Illuminati shit is real.
That you've set loose on them. I have people in my community posts telling me to drop the group chat name. I've lost hundreds of subscribers. I'm sure the people who are actually in this thumbnail and who have much larger fan bases are dealing with an even more unhinged reaction. Doothy, your now sizable fan base is all asking you to name names.
Okay, Doothy's fan base? Like, am I crazy? Hold on. Did I not just see Doothy's fan base being 8K? Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. My bad, Doothy, if I just talk smack about your fan base, bro. My bad. My bad. Oh, this video's gonna hit 1 million views for real. Oh no, Doothy has a big channel. I dyslexically read it wrong. Okay, but Doothy has 82,000 subscribers. But like, hear me out, okay? Doothy's most popular video is the re-upload at almost 1 million, which is great. But look at her other views, girls. She's the same as my channel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some videos hit, but most of the videos are not hitting. So like, relax, okay? Like, I'm an adult. That's the only difference. Is like, I'm not afraid of a YouTube group chat because I'm 37 years old, almost 37. But Doothy has a sizable channel, but she's still a small creator. 80,000 subscribers is still small creator. Okay, so Doothy's audience is okay size, but most of her videos get 5 to 7, 12,000 views. Okay, Chad said she had way less subscribers when I watched yesterday. Okay, so they're probably new subscribers, right?
And I agree. And with that out of the way, I will.
Oh, I'll just tell you this too. Those subscribers are probably going to fall off. That's the problem with always talking about drama or trending stuff, is the viewers are only there to see you talk about the things they want to see. That lesbian's having this problem in the gaming community right now, where she wants to play a different game and her audience is like, but 63% of your views come from this game. She's like, well, then I'm going to lose those views. And that's the problem with being a creator, is that if you get famous talking about a certain topic, and then you stop talking about it, your channel will most likely die, which is why I try really hard to not fall into that. But yeah.
Actually give your critiques themselves the time of day. Because in addition to you straight up mistruthing for clicks.
All right, so I'm not on his side now. I'm not on his side right now.
Listen to this.
Yeah. I lost hundreds of subscribers. What the fuck? Hundreds of subscribers?
I know, like 100.
It's never fun.
It's like, it's not that serious, but also...
I'm gonna keep it real. It's never fun to have people...
Instead of him processing that his audience agreed with Doothy's video and actually unsubscribed, he blamed Doothy. If I lost... Not that I would care if I lost hundreds of subscribers, but if I came to work tomorrow and I lost 5,000 subscribers, I'd be like, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Did I say something? The fact that he didn't even think that maybe I did something wrong is the point Doothy's trying to make. Did you maybe consider you did something wrong?
Talking shit about you that you can't avoid. Y'all see this video up here. I'm not gonna name names. Y'all see this motherfucker here, right? That I gave a little time to try to watch. This shit happens. This shit happens. And so I got that dude in my comment section. Not that dude.
Okay, listen to what FD's about to say. Why do I always say this to you? Why do I always say to YouTubers, if you watch my stuff, don't talk to me? Of course, there are YouTubers I actually do like and I would love to talk to. But how many men have I made content about and all of a sudden they're in my chat? Brittany, get on stream and talk to me. You've been there. You've been on the live streams where those boys see me talking about them and they get mad about it and then they go, debate me. Debate me. Bro, why would I do this? Yes, it will be fun beef for a while. Yes, I'll make money. Yes, we'll grow our channels. Why would I even bother talking to you when I know it's bullshit? It's all for the clout. You know what I mean? But that's the thing. That's the thing that happens. And so I always like, I get DMs, I ignore them. Listen, unless I really respect you, I'm not DMing back with peace and love. Unless I really like your content, I'm not DMing back at this point in my life. Okay.
That dude's fans in my comment section, the block game is strong. It's not fun to see people lie about you and you really can't say nothing. I get that. I'm with you on that. I might respond to a tweet here or two or a comment here or two. Never gonna respond with my actual algorithm on the line. But never have I been worried about losing a couple of hundred subscribers, even when I had a couple of hundred subscribers.
I agree.
These niggas did not lose a substantial amount of subscribers based off that video. That's cap.
Yeah.
So I'm just put that out there now. But moving on.
The idea that anyone would want to silence you for this video in which you say basically nothing is absurd.
The TikTokification of the bizarre deep divification rabbit hole retrospective.
God, I really am cute as a Muppet though.
I'm sure we've all come across
At
some
least he's
video that
letting
promises to be
being
some
clear that
grand
she's trying to
intellectual
hate with
piece
it.
about the ification of an industrial complex, perhaps, but it ends up just being more reaction meme surface skimming like.
And by the way, can I say something? I don't watch video essays most of the time on my own. I like commentary style videos. Do These video I only watched on my own because my Discord said they really liked it and I was curious. And it was talking about YouTubers, which I love, by the way. But I would have watched the video whether she was sitting in her room talking or whether or not she made those Muppets. The fact that she put so much work into the video and it took her 8 months, it has no bearing on whether or not I would have watched it. But here's the thing. I am not most YouTube watchers. Most YouTube watchers are more likely to stay on a video that they believe the creator has put more effort into. Or on the absolute opposite side, has put no effort into because that looks like they're real people now. So I have to remember that as a person who consumes content as much as I do it for the love of the game. I love YouTube the way people love music, and I love music too. But you know what I mean? Like, watching YouTube is like saying I listen to the radio all day. I love this stuff. So when, and I have a very autistic, neurodivergent audience, and I just want to say, I love you guys. You will never make me rich. You will never make me popular. You would have to be fans, which most of my audience is not. You would have to be like very into the creator. You would have to build a parasocial relationship with me in order to then send your fave to everybody, make videos, make TikToks. Like, this is the thing that I want people to understand. So my job as a creative to have this job is to say my audience is never going to be the reason, because I'm not going to build the kind of audience that would make me famous. Right? Okay. Chet said, don't blame us. Blame YouTube for real. It's become awful. It's not YouTube, because Habibis, I'm not blaming you. The only reason Mr. Beast is famous is because of his fans and the people he pays to make content. Okay. What's the Indian streamer who's really, really famous? He has 2,000 people who clip his videos. 2,000 clippers. Do you process what I'm saying? I'm saying you have to be the kind of audience that is involved in your creator to promote your creator. And the same way small bands were like, hey, share my CD with your friends. Share my CD with your friends. Except I don't have a CD to give you. And what's worse is I've had people tell me, oh, Brit, you're kind of like my guilty pleasure channel to help myself. If I share your channel with other people, they're going to know I'm going through some shit. They're going to know I'm on a philosophical journey. Absolutely fair. Which is why this group of people taking offense to being called slop content is hilarious, because you're safe content. You know what I mean? You're safe content, okay? So yes, I agree with you. Sometimes I feel like I'm trying to actually teach you something and you might be hearing it as Brittany's complaining. I'm actually trying to tell you how the world works. Like, I know you think you know how the world works, but as a person who does this and is showing you behind the curtain, I'm telling you it's not what you think it is. It's like, this is what I'm trying to say is so hard though, because like, I have to learn how it works all the time too. That's what FD is doing right now. FD is pulling the curtain behind a little bit and he's saying, and people aren't going to believe him. And again, maybe we shouldn't even tell you. Maybe we should be like every other YouTuber that doesn't tell you anything, because we know it's going to be upsetting to hear it. Because it's the same thing about billionaires in society. Nobody wants to hear they're the reason Jeff Bezos is a billionaire. But how could Jeff Bezos have gotten so popular if we all didn't love Prime one-day shipping? Why did his business take a 10-year hit of, quote, no money? Why does Uber and all of these businesses follow the same pattern? And then we wonder, okay, like, that's what I'm saying. People were like, Brittany, how'd you stop shopping at Amazon? How'd you stop doing Prime? Exactly. The fact that there are people on YouTube who have to make videos about getting rid of Amazon is Jeff Bezos' whole plan. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So again, it's not about, oh, I want to be famous. It's about understanding that I'm never going to be famous under this structure because I'm not willing to do what it takes, but you should question who is famous. That's why people don't like Hassan Piker. He's too damn famous for a leftist, which we'll get into with this video. So FD Signifier was on a collaboration with Dr. Ball, a man named Bill, and Deculturation. And Deculturation was bringing up some really great points and criticisms to FD during this whole discussion. It was really good. But one part in particular, he goes after Hassan in particular points, but this point is about Noah Samsen, which I didn't even think about, but he's right about. That this kind of stuff is the stuff that I am like, I raise an eyebrow, and I'm trying to be very cautious about how I talk about things as well. But listen to this criticism that Deculturation has for Noah Samsen.
Look, I know he's your homie FD, but like Noah Samsen's video, his thumbnail with it's him and Palestine destroyed behind him and like a Palestinian child starving. Like every time I see that thumbnail, it enrages me, bro, because I understand like the algorithm and all this stuff and the thumbnails and you got to put your face out there. But like, dude, like what's wrong with you? Like how sick and distant do you have to be from like any sense of dignity and respect, you know, to put that up there and not have a second thought about it. So I understand where Bill is coming from in terms of like these profiteering individuals. Hassan Piker claiming that, oh, if you're Zionist, if you ever had any Zionist sentiment, you shouldn't even be the local dog catcher. And he's taking off his shirt to give a pin to liberal Zionist Bernie Sanders. Like Bernie is a Zionist through and through. He was worshiping Golda Meir, who used chemical weapons in the West Bank. He opposes a single state with equal rights, which is still like a liberal ass position. Like that's how devoted he is to the Zionist project. And so there's opportunists, white opportunists. I don't do that spicy white shit. They're white everywhere. And I understand that. I get that. And we should combat that. We should be calling them out for normalizing liberal Zionism. But man, in terms of like trying to, first of all, I don't like the term Jewish supremacist, because it's like, it takes away from like the importance of understanding and combating Zionism.
Okay, so this is them calling out FD for sort of like tiptoeing around the like Zionism stuff and anti-Jewish stuff, and FD's worry obviously about being associated with white supremacy. I get it. But Noah Samsen, okay, here's Noah Samsen's videos. Here it is. So I was like, oh, which thumbnail is it? I'm scrolling. You almost like, you can't tell because the thumbnails are just like everywhere. But eventually you come to the realization that there really is a starving baby in one of these thumbnails. And it's exactly the picture I've showed on my stream that I would never put in a thumbnail. Is this one right here. On the very left side of it, it's a mother holding her starving child. Okay. And I remember when we watched this video on stream, and I remember telling myself like, oh yeah, like we're not gonna feature this picture. Hold on, I lost it. I had it and then I lost it. Oh my God. I lost it again. I was trying to zoom in. It's this one right here. It's like, okay, right? I see what deculturation is trying to say. And I do think like there's something there that I think is important. Then I do think it ultimately plays into like the idea of this like slop content, or this content that's like a little bit turn off your brain, like, or the fact that Noah Samsen is taking probably a financial hit for sure, making these videos. And also it's great that he's bringing so much attention to Palestine. And I think that's also plays into the Bad Empanada parts of it, or getting into fights with Bad Empanada. So, okay, check this out. So then there's this video here, same collaboration, where FD tries to explain like getting into fights with creators and how it's a distraction. Like, I don't like Bad Empanada. I've been very like clear about that, and people get mad about that because he's so anti-Zionist. They think I'm saying I'm not anti-Zionist, but just because Bad Empanada is right on one topic doesn't mean he's right on every topic. And I don't like him. I do not need to like him. The same thing with Hassan. Forcing me to like these men is patriarchal and fucked up, first of all. But like, I don't like them and I don't have to like them. They're content creators. There are other people doing other work that I like and I prefer. And also, and I think this is important, is that like Bad Empanada and a lot of these people are white, and they're kind of like playing POC in a very like malicious way that I think is very hard to explain. Deculturation does it really well. But like, it's like why I don't sit here and call myself a brown woman. Yes, I'm Assyrian, but I'm not a brown woman. You know what I mean? I'm not a black woman. I'm not existing in the world in white supremacy with black or brown skin. Like, yes, when people see me, they might think I'm Jewish or they might think I'm something else. But like, I'm not pretending. I'm not grooming myself in a particular way. I'm not showing up in a particular way. I'm not allowing people to believe something about me that isn't true, right? And so when these people show up and they show up the way that they do, and they sort of like, of course they're the ones being more platformed or more accepted or more, they're comfortable enough for white centrists to start being anti-Zionist and pro-Palestine, but they're too uncomfortable for like, or more brown or black people would be too uncomfortable for those same people to get into it. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to get. Like, that's what I'm trying to get people to understand is like, the reason you show up matters. Like the reason you might be or are popular matters. And the same, you know what I mean? Okay, so listen to this.
Brains and manipulating their behavior. And what you all are talking about, first off, are things we do. I want to just make sure that's understood. What you just described, Dr. Ball, is what myself, Bill, and others do consistently when it's time to discuss a Candace Owens, a Jasmine Crockett, insert person here. The thing that I'm trying to get people to understand is that regardless of how it's done and the gentleness, the merit, the narrow focus of that aspect, the algorithm and these tools of the masters will still move in specific ways to emphasize the worst possible outcomes to a critique.
Correct.
So perfect example is when Bad Empanada first responded to Lil Bill, Lil Bill was about to respond, and I said,
okay, Lil Bill's another content creator, of course, and FD has given this advice to many people because he himself has had run-ins himself.
Listen, I understand your desire to respond, but understand this: if you respond to Bad Empanada, y'all are forever tied at the hip.
Which is why I make a concerted effort not to reply or get into YouTube beef with anybody unless I respect them. But this is why. Because like, if you start beefing with a creator, this is why I didn't beef with Destiny. Like, I know people think, or they don't understand how much money I could have made beefing with Destiny. But I am already, the 1 year I spent in that space is like forever a part of my reputation, okay? If I beefed with him, I would have just been another beefing YouTuber, which is why Hassan doesn't beef with Destiny either, though I do think his willingness to talk to Asmin is crazy, okay? You have to be careful with who you're beefing with because the beef is also a representation of you. So beef responsibly.
From that response on this.
I like that.
You
That's
like that.
Let's go.
Right.
Let's go. We wedded in hate. We walked down the aisle together. Let's go,
right.
goddammit. I hear wedding bells on a daily basis out this piece.
I do.
But you understand, though, that breeds dysfunction.
Now, okay, Chet says, see, this is the reason why I'm on FD. He caps harder for Noah and Hassan than he does for black women. And I understand the specific politics that makes him do so, but others don't. For sure. I think like even FD's been in my chat and I've been critical of FD. I do think FD makes one specific man mistake that I consistently see from him. And that is, and this is, I think Deculturation probably has a similar critique, but is I find he allows Hassan to use him as a black guy approves of me trope card. And it throws the women under the bus who are critical of Hassan. Because when women are critical of Hassan, especially black women, Hassan goes, FD approves of me. Look, FD saying something nice about me. He always brings up FD. And I'm like, and so what FD unknowingly is doing, because FD doesn't watch the streams. He always says he's a dad, he's got kids, he's busy. He's not missing the thing that's happening. He's not seeing how he's being used to give Hassan credit for the black community against black women or black, you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't think FD's doing it on purpose. I think it's an accident because he's so busy. He coming into this debate or this discussion, girls, he literally said, I haven't watched anyone's content. He's too busy. He has a life. This man has children. Okay? Because he's not chronically online like the rest of us, he's missing why Hassan is weaponizing this clip of him. And he's missing the social so like that's the only thing that gets frustrating for me where I'm like, stop giving Hassan any kind of thumbs up. Because when he's under so much heat, okay, like that's what I'm saying is like okay, that's the biggest criticism I have of FD. But I also, it'd be different, I think, if he was chronically online, then I'd be like, but he's not chronically online. So he doesn't know. And also, I'm coming from the woman perspective, obviously, not the Black community perspective, but I do think Hassan is weaponizing it.
You know, so that's a toxic marriage. The children don't thrive under that.
But one other contradiction to this fame piece that
And to be fair, FD always says he's not as leftist in the same exact ways as people like deculturation, as an example. Like, I think, and that's the other part of it that we have to contend with too, which is fair. Like, he always feels like he does think leftism is good with capitalism being first, because he thinks that under socialism or communism, it would be easier to fight racism, which is fine. But that is, you know, a belief he said recently a lot when talking about Plattner and other people.
Do want to bring up and put us a little bit on the spot for, and a little bit of a shout out is that, and I get it, I'm often critical of certain levels of popularity and the performance that it requires. But at the same time, as it's just happened this morning, when organizers on behalf of political prisoners like Mumia want to get word out, and they want to be able to reach people with platforms the size that you have, and your willingness to do it, as you've already agreed, and I'm calling you out on publicly, is again part of that conundrum. Like, if you don't grow your platform to the size that it is and do the things that you have to do to get there, then they don't have the outlet that they need, or that they feel that they need for this next push that's about to start next week. You know, so it's like, so that's why I try to, let me just say a couple more things, because I want to get to the point, because I know I wanted to say one more thing real quick about this. So, all right, so that contradiction is real. And this is why, Carlos, and I'll just skip to the one bit of criticism I had for you, is that, and I admit that this has become a tactic for me more in my old age, is that part of what your criticism of Bill, I felt did go over the line in the moment of.
Okay, pause. This is a really good discussion overall. If you guys haven't seen it, and I can go ahead and I'll just share it. It's a good, you know why it's a good discussion? Because the men on the panel are all left, and they're all genuinely trying to understand each other. Okay, like there is a genuine. It's timestamped, so ignore that. Just watch from the beginning. But they are trying to understand each other. Okay, it really is like they're critical. They have judgments. They have disagreements. And by the end of the conversation, it's really nice. It's a really nice conversation. And you see where everyone is at. Okay? And that's what I would love for the future. I would love a stream or a collaboration or a scene with people where I'm like, we disagree, and I'm not sure what to do with that. Instead of this back and forth and group chat and Duthie did this and Mark did this and so did this. It's like, girl. Okay, hold on. Let's watch this, because at the very end, he says something I want you to see.
Lighthearted commentary instead of actual substance. I want to highlight
of the overconsumptionification of the TikTokification video essay, but then turned out to be surface level commentary. Well, let me put up my title and thumbnail for that video, and I'll let you all decide if I was signaling with that this was a substantive.
Okay, so 250,000 views. People are going insane for a white tank top. Yeah, like, listen, it's a 16-minute video that probably made him $1,500, right? So the reason she's criticizing you, it's because if you're putting out videos that are 8 to 15 minutes long on a trending topic, it is a money grab. That's the criticism. The criticism is you could possibly have nothing good to say if you are only talking about trending topics in order to beat the algorithm, in order to get what people, because that's what people want. When I say algorithm, guys, I also mean you. Trending topics means you're interested in it. That's why you're Googling it. That's the goal. The goal of Andrew Tate, the goal of these people is to be trending. So when people make something trending, like clavicular, it's saying that's what you want. You're making him popular. And so when people say, why is this guy even popular? Because I feel like you still don't understand Trump as president. Why is Trump president? Because he was popular. Like, not popular from a voting base from the way you understand it, but he was everywhere. He was everywhere in my childhood. He was writing books. He was on every TV show. He was on Sex and the City. He was on Home Alone. He was everywhere. He was famous. Fine. You know what? Fine. Not popular. Famous. He was famous. Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton, the way they got famous was making sure to show up at every club with paparazzi to make sure they were in photos no matter what. They are famous. And then because they're famous, you want to know who they are, and the cycle continues. Again, the way YouTubers get famous is by making sure their face is everywhere. So when people see them, they go, why do I keep seeing this guy? Why is this guy everywhere? That's why people pay people to clip, or why fans clip their favorites, because they want their favorite to be everywhere on your feed. Okay? And that's how people get famous. Because, okay, and then they get famous, and then people go, oh, you're famous? Come on my podcast. I don't even know who you are, but come on my podcast. Because you're famous. And if I interview you, I'll be famous. And the cycle continues, and the cycle continues, and the cycle continues. Okay, it's like being popular in high school. Popular, you were well known. You had status. There's a hierarchy. And in America, in capitalism, the status is subscribers, viewership, status, invites to places, money. And of course, who you're dating. Okay?
Serious video essay that Duthie.
So FD was right. No matter how much Mark feels like it's just a bunch of people in a group chat, the point is like, can I get in that group chat? Oh, so the group chat is exclusive. Who's in the group chat? Why are you in a group chat? Would this group chat have existed if you weren't all YouTubers? No. So the group chat exists because you're YouTubers and you guys are popular YouTubers and you're hanging out together and you're spending your time talking about a small creator who's way small. You know what I mean? Okay.
Was about to watch. As a matter of fact, let me play the first 10 seconds of this video, and you tell me if a reasonable person would assume that they were just sitting down for an intellectual masterclass. What's up, folks?
Nice pump, honestly.
Come on, man.
And the reason I chose this video is not to drag this creator specifically.
Well, it kind of feels like I'm being dragged specifically.
But it's because he's...
Okay, and I believe him. I think his feelings are hurt, and I think that means he's not self-aware of the content he makes. So how can he say, I make slop, I make fun content, and then be mad she said that you make fun content? So you agree with her that you make brain rot content that's fun to watch. I'm telling you, his ego is hurt. The same people who make this content are upset they make the content, but like, girly, just say, yeah, that's the kind of content I make. But the problem is like people are watching this content and thinking it's well-researched, well-formulated content, whether he wants to believe it or not. That is what's happening. Like when you guys were like, Brittany, watch Film Cooper. And I watched Film Cooper and I was like, why do you guys like this? And people were like, no, I really like him. And I was like, yeah, but this isn't like good commentary. He's just a bully. This is just brain rot, which is fine. There's nothing wrong. Again, I don't care if it's brain rot. I love brain rot. Okay? I literally watch TikToks with AI voiceovers telling me what the movie Twilight is about, even though it's always wrong. It's so funny and I watch them. I love brain rot. I just wouldn't send it to somebody and say, this is a really in-depth analysis of the Twilight movies.
Said something really interesting twice throughout the video. Breaking the fourth wall.
Okay, so I want to hold him here because he's not that much bigger than her. He's 170K subs, and her video is about to hit.
Yeah, but his views do way better than her views. I think FD's a little old school here, and forgive him for being an old person. But subscriber count, view count's what's getting you paid. Subscriber count is what's getting you noticed. View count is what's getting you paid. He is making an incredibly amazing amount more money than her. Okay?
1 million views in the next couple of weeks. I'm not going to hold him for wanting to respond. And here's a lesson I had to learn the hard way. When you mention someone's name in content, there's no way to do that with care. Who the fuck are these people? Bellamy, I'm finding out just.
I like that idea that if you mention someone's name in content, there's no way to do it with care. Yeah, I think there's a part of that. I do. I think we'd like to say that we're doing it with care. We'd like to say we're being nice and compassionate, but either like it is really hard to do it. And so I acknowledge that and I accept it, right? Like, which is why I say I look forward to the day that I am so respected in this space, people make critique videos of me. Because even though nobody in this space, everybody in this space knows me, but nobody makes content about me, could either be seen as a good sign or be seen as a bad sign eventually. Because like if I'm not getting any critique, like, or any commentary, maybe. Not that Elliot Sang needs to be critiqued, but I mean, I do watch Elliot Sang, and Elliot Sang knows who I am, that he watches me. So like maybe it's not critique so much, but it is like, but maybe. Yeah, because you don't want to get so big in your ego that you never get critiqued, but maybe it's not even the critique, it's an expansion. You know, something like that. So, you know, it's a different bubble. Elliot, me, FD, Contra, maybe not Contra, she's kind of a baby. Hassan, he's kind of a baby too. You know, other people. We're in a space where like we see criticism and we're like, cool, are we expanding ideas? As long as it's good faith. I think the commentary channels that make fun content, they'd be so confused about why you were talking about them. Because they're like, what's happening? You know what I mean? Something like that. Something like that.
As quickly as you can be as respectful and nice and positive as you want. If you mention someone's name in content, in any way criticize them.
Okay, chat says terms like brain rot and slap feel loaded and ambiguous, and they come across insulting, especially if they're genuinely tried. Especially if they genuinely tried. Yeah, like people used to say that about reality TV, like, oh, it's bad content. Why do you watch it? Look, I love some reality TV. Is it the best quality content? No. You know, call it whatever you want to call it. There is a hierarchy to it. It's not good content, but it's great content. But it's not good. Like, no one is going to die if Love is Blind wasn't made. No one's going to die if all of these commentary channels disappear. To be fair, though, and this is my greatest part of my thesis today, I would argue that all of it could go away and it wouldn't matter. So all of the work we've ever created, every piece of music, every piece of art could go away and it still wouldn't matter. We could all disappear and it still wouldn't matter. The mattering is a construct created by us. Period. So if you are a creative and you're making work, you have to be wise enough to know what you're making. And if you aren't wise enough to know what you're making, then you certainly are making slop. Because it feels like very weird to say, I'm a creative. I spent my blood, sweat, and tears. I put so much effort into this thing, and I don't know what I made. Do you know what you've made? He says out of one side of his mouth, it is a fun video. And on the other side of his mouth, I don't want to be critiqued for just making fun videos. But that's what you're making while getting the social, some sort of social credit of being one of the good ones, because you're associated with a group of people who are also known as the good ones. Of course you're the good ones. You have the most basic takes of basic human decency, and everyone gives you flowers for it. And I'm saying your basic take about basic human decency is slop. It's okay. It's good. It's like when you're dating a guy and he's like, I don't hit women. What do you mean? I don't hate women. I don't hit them. As if hitting women is the only way to hate them. And I'm saying it's not good enough next to and in the bubble in which we are critiquing at a higher level, because the critique now changes. If I created a piece of art and we were critiquing it against another piece of art created with very technical skill, and someone said, oh, Brady, you're drawing on face paint, on MS Paint, it's not as good as this other technical piece of art. I don't get to say, oh, but art is subjective and who gets to decide what's good art? We're judging it through a lens of technicality, so there are rules. Same thing with YouTube commentary. If Doothy says, here is where my criticism is coming from, here's why I'm critiquing you, here's the videos that I think fit in this category, okay? It's like you know, when you go through a phase of, I don't listen to pop music, I listen to only indie bands. It's like, I listen to all music, even music you think is trash. But let me just tell you this, if you asked me which song was a good song, we'd be having different conversations. Okay, if you ask me like, is this a good book? We'd be having different conversations. What do you mean by good? What do you mean by book? Okay, so Doothy's criticism was from a very specific lens, and within the context of that lens, I think she was generally correct.
You are creating a negative force going towards them. And as I showed y'all, what was the dude's name? Akumaku, the Attack on Titan dude, which by the
Hold on. He's gonna
agreeing with you or up on a video
There's a-
and it's somebody else talking about
there's a timestamp and he forwards it and da-da-da.
my guy here. Whenever your face pops up on a video and it's somebody else talking about you and then not being agreeing with you or just quoting you or something, it's never fun. And so I don't begrudge people for wanting to defend themselves. I just always warn people that whenever you get into online beef.
Did you see how I handled James from Do Not Worry? I had only seen a part of his stream where he talked about me. I kind of like flipped through the stream because I went to his content. Okay, here's something I do that I know other content creators don't do, but I do it now for a reason, obviously. Before I did the collaboration of Do Not Worry, through Anthony, I looked up his co-host to try to see their content, to see what they were doing, and I got somewhat of a picture. They're on the left. Okay, I went that same day to James's channel to see what he was doing, and I saw me on it, and I was like, oh, it's me. So I clicked on it, and I went through, and I just clicked like this to see what he was saying, and he was pretty critical of me. And I was like, okay. And then I came to that stream and I did that collaboration and I said, James, go ahead. And James had a lot of questions for me and I answered them and I thought I did a really good job. And at the end of it, I think we saw each other a little bit better. But it required him being good faith and it required me not being defensive and it required me also staying in my lane. So what I've perfected as a creator, what I know I can perfect moving forward with collaborations is staying in my lane. So if somebody asks me, Brittany, what do you think the DNC should do? I don't know. I'm not in politics. Would you like to ask me a philosophical question? Like instead of when I used to do panels, I would try to talk about everything when it obviously wasn't my lane because most of the panels that are created in these debate spaces are absolutely not even people with special interests. It's just they email you, they message you and go, hey, Britt, I saw your channel. Do you know anything about this topic? Would you like to come debate? That's all that happens behind the closed doors, guys. That's it. Okay? And then you say yes or no.
All you're doing is getting married in the eyes of the algorithm. And you can't control, no matter how much you say, don't do X, Y, and Z thing, people are going to do X, Y, and Z thing. You can't control people's behavior in the aftermath. You can only control when you upload. All right.
All he says.
And since I still have to run at least 5 more minutes in this video, let's go deep. Let's trace the origins of this contagion for no other reason than I need to stretch this video out for watch time. I'm sorry. Is it illegal to be hilarious now?
Now, this creator is what I like to call the surface. Rather than actually going deeper down a rabbit hole.
Nah, nigga, we know it. It's funny, but it's also lampshading. We'll come back to it.
I made a 15-minute long video about a dumb TikTok trend and that as you play back, I myself repeat throughout the video, I think is silly and dumb. I would respect you telling me that if I don't think it's important, then I shouldn't make the video, which I would also disagree with. I think entertainment and having fun can be, it's a means to an end of itself. But instead,
So you make stupid content. Or you make low brow content. Or you make turn your brain off. That's what I'm saying. Don't do this to me. Don't be like, oh, I'm a comedian. I'm just a comedian. Okay, so you make content that's meant to relieve me of thinking. Do you know what I'm saying? Just own what she's saying about you so we can move the fuck on. So what kind of content do you make? Do you make serious content? Because the critique needs to be even more serious now. Or do you make slop content? Listen to me. Listen to me. If I could, I would make this content. And I would rake in the money and I would fucking go home. But I can't because it feels stupid to me. I feel stupid getting on the internet being like, hey guys, like there's a white t-shirt thing. This is trending. Let me talk about it to make a quick 1,000. You know what I'm saying? You think if I could do it, I would. But I feel like my brain is melting. So just so you know, when I cover content, it's because I find it actually stimulating. Like I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, we can connect this to philosophy. But I would never make a video about something that I genuinely was like, this is so stupid. Let's talk about it. What? Okay, what?
You argue that I should have stretched the video even longer by turning it into a TikTokification of the tank topification video essay, which is also slop, Doothy, and you yourself make fun of it in this video.
Yeah, he just didn't get it. He completely missed her point.
So,
all right, I'm with him here. I'm kind of with him here. This is my criticism of the video. So, and it's not me criticizing like to be negative.
Look, Doothy's video is not original, one of a kind, and the universe could have done without it. And yet, okay, I don't think that's what she's saying. I think what she's saying is, would you have made this video in this way specifically? Like, okay, no. Why do you make videos? Start there. Why do you make videos? Why should someone watch you? Okay, I am asking of you for multiple hours of your day. I am making a huge request of human beings to say, for up to 6 hours of your precious limited time on earth, would you like to watch me review YouTube videos? I don't think he's thinking about it that way. I think he's thinking, what's popular, what's trending, how do I do this for a living so I don't have to go get a different job? I don't even know if he considers himself an artist. Okay? When I asked James on Do Not Worry podcast, I asked James, like, why do you make content? What are you doing here? And his initial answer was, oh, I wanted to talk politics, but nobody in my life would talk with me. So I made a YouTube channel. And I said, but that's not really why you stream, right? That's not why you're willing to put your face out here and tell the world who your opinions. Like, there must be a deeper reason. And he goes, yeah, I guess so. I guess when you say it like that, okay, there must be a real reason why we do what we do. And I'm saying that Duthie obviously has a philosophy, a belief. She's very passionate about this thing. Mark, I don't know why he makes what he does, except it's easy and it's a pattern, right? It's like money making. Okay, I'm saying, why do you do what you do? Okay, I love the content I make. I'm so privileged to be able to make it for a living. I know what I'm doing here, but it also took me a lot of time to realize that. It took me years of being on YouTube to really say, Brittany, what do you want to do on the internet? I knew I wanted to be creative. I knew I wanted to talk about real issues. I just didn't know in which way it would feel good enough for me to show up and be authentic. Okay, most of the YouTube people I talk to, like, or used to talk to, they're not thinking like that. They're literally like, Brittany, this is how you go viral. Brittany, this is how you cause more drama to get money. Brittany, this is how you end up on FYP pages. And I'm like, you guys are stressing me out. And they're like, don't you want that though? Don't you want that? And I'm like, I want to make a living making art I like. And they're like, so you want to be famous? And I was like, I want to make a living making art I like. That's all I want. Whatever happens around that, that's fine. But like, that's all I want to do. Versus these people are like, I want to be famous and I want to be rich. You see how this is different on the Manosphere documentary? The guy said, I could never be this rich and successful if I was a good person. He wants to be rich and successful, famous first. And I'm saying, I want to create art for a living first. And I'm doing that. I am doing the dream. You know what I mean?
Towards what she's feeling, it's critiquing just to hopefully help her better understand the problem that she feels like she's seeing.
Chad said it does seem chronically stressful to play the game of YouTube. I really don't believe it's any more stressful than any other job. I think all jobs that you're actually seriously looking at as a career are just as stressful. I don't know any of my friends who have a real career that aren't as stressed about their career as my career. If it's a job, you have a different kind of stress, but working is stressful. Putting food on your table is stressful. And most of us, you know what I mean? Like, we're not even, we're not making that kind of money. Right?
She's smart now. You know what? I'm going to use myself. You know, one of the compliments that I love getting the most
this is the last point.
Radical niggas.
Okay, listen to this. This is the last point.
One of the compliments that I love getting the most is when radical niggas tell me they used to watch me. It's when I meet someone engaged in like real political action or real political education or real political organizing, and they say they used to watch me. Shout out to the homie CJ the Radical. If you on TikTok at all and you
shout out to CJ,
follow like the hardcore political spaces, then you might know CJ. When I talked to CJ, he basically said, I used to watch you, and then as I kept going, you were not radical enough for me, so I moved beyond you. Damn it, that means I'm doing my job.
For sure.
If I got you to think about capitalism differently or class differently or anything differently because you watched me talk about black villains for an hour and a half, if you heard me talk about old school hip hop or incels or interracial relationships or Black Panther, if I introduce you to Pan-Africanist scientific socialism and real Pan-Africanist thought in a video about a Disney product, and you was like, oh, I fucks with this nigga. But like after a couple more videos, you was like, you know what? I just finished reading Fanon. I just finished reading George Jackson, and you not really like in there like I need you to be in there. And so you went beyond me to the point where my surface level, entry level shit doesn't quite do it for you.
See. See how FD is being self-aware and therefore he's humble and therefore he's intelligent. He's wise. He's a good person. You don't pedestal him, but you can look at him like I don't want to say leader, but like, because he says he's self-aware. He knows what he's making. It's very important. I try to do this in my work as well. I try to be very self-aware about what I'm doing, what I am making, what my hope is, where I want people to go. Okay. How I want them to watch my content and eventually grow out of my content if that's where they need to be, right? Or do whatever they're meant to do. But like, it's like being a teacher. It feels like we're the teachers, forgive me, but like we're the teachers and we keep getting a new class of ninth graders. And then the seniors are like, hey, I want to take your class, but like, I already did this in ninth grade. Yeah, you already did it in ninth grade, Habibi. You don't have to repeat your grade. It's time to graduate. But what they miss is us. They miss the nostalgia. You ever visit a teacher from high school? You kind of miss the nostalgia of being with that teacher in that class or with your classmates. Yeah, like we have to stay here because our class is always changing. You get to grow. So even though in my personal life I'm growing, as a creative, we have to stay in a very specific niche because that's just what we're doing. I will be answering the same philosophical questions for the next 30 years. Eventually, you will outgrow listening to me on stream talk about free will. And that's okay. Okay? I have to keep answering it. I have to keep answering like, what is laziness? What do you mean it's a construct? Which I'm happy to answer. At the end of stream, I'll take Q&A. Okay? But like, I'm happy to answer that 1,000 times. But eventually, for the daily watchers, you will get sick of watching me repeat the same thing. You'll feel like Brittany is always having the same conversation on stream every day. Yeah. Or maybe not. Maybe you'll be a 30-year watcher like on finance channels. Like, how many people have been listening to Dave Ramsey for 35, 40 years and he's still talking about the same shit? Because for some of us, we like the consistency. We like hearing the same thing for 35 years. So some of you will stay and that's going to be beautiful too. Right?
Anymore because you're doing real work. That's a huge compliment to me. YouTube is designed to the point where I have 1.2 million subscribers, right? But 200, 300,000 of those subs haven't watched me in a year. It's just the nature of the beast.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would appreciate if niggas didn't shit on me for making surface level shit. Cause those are people that haven't quite figured out their fucking role in this shit yet. Like that would be nice. You know what I'm saying? And this is very much a Gen Z, Gen Alpha thing. Cause I don't know who any of these motherfuckers are. This is like going back and being like,
well, you know, Sesame Street was actually really low level intellectually. Its quality does not intellectually stimulate me anymore.
You're an adult.
Actually, wait, I thought about that with Disney movies where a bunch of people in their 40s was like, Disney's just not the same. Habibi, you're not 5 years old. You're not the demographic. Hello? They're like, Disney movies just don't hit the way they used to. Are you 7? Are you 10 years old? Okay, you need to sit down. Literally all these people talk about Disney doesn't hit. You're 40.
Now, TikTok nonsense isn't as entertaining to you. So hearing people analyze TikTok to you is trivial and mundane, and it should be. But to like some 15-year-old that's trying to make sense of the world, that's trying to avoid getting sucked into like an alt-right pipeline or some red pill shit, or basic consumerism, or is dealing with identity issues, or trying to avoid getting sucked into a fad or a trend, the TikTokification of such a citation of representation might be a really important video for that 14-year-old.
Exactly.
So don't shit on it. That's shitty. Don't shit on that video. Don't shit on the people making that content. Yeah, it's slop. Yeah, this dude, Mark Insko, is a slop tuber. He is. Ooh. But it means something to the people who are at this stage of the game, which is most people.
Okay, pause. This is the criticism FD does get from a lot of people where because he's worked with kids, because he has children, because he knows better and he's right. Everyone's at a different stage. So the thing is, and this is what one of my friends told me this, because she watches like a lot of the YouTubers too, and she knows what's up. She was like, your job is to criticize people and their job is to keep making the content they're making. Because as we grow at different stages, we will criticize, but this is the game. So FD will come in as kind of dad, and he'll say, stop fighting. Okay, you're right and you're right. You're wrong and you're wrong. Be nice to each other. And then I'll show up in the background and be like, boo, I actually agree with Duthi more. And then Elliot's like, look, I don't even like Duthi, but also, like, did she say anything that bad? And then everyone else is in the background like, actually, and we're all like, boo. And then, like, that's the point, is we're all in this big fucking not consensual relationship because, like, we all exist together at the same company. But, like, that's the part of it that's just so human of us, okay? And that's what I'm saying. Everyone's playing a role. FD's playing his, I'm playing mine. Everyone's playing a role, okay? And the question is, do you know the role you are playing? Because if you do not learn it, you will be confused when someone criticizes your videos or has input or sees your video in a way that you don't see it. And you're like, wait, that's what you think about my work? And it's like, yeah, did you not know that's how people see your work? That is how we see your work. So I always try to be aware of how people are seeing my work, how it comes across, and if I feel satisfied with how people are seeing my work. Honestly, right now, yes. Even when I'm like, guys, do you not understand what I'm saying? Know that I am getting such positive reinforcement and feedback that I feel good about it. And I love to hear your criticisms. And I really enjoy our back and forths. I think it's really, really amazing. And I want you to keep it coming. Okay. Now, I just got the most incredible pounding headache in my head that I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And I'm worried it's going to turn into a migraine. So I will answer a couple of questions and then we will tomorrow come back and watch the Everyone Stopped Reading video because I just feel so sick this week and I don't know what's happening. Maybe I'm working out too much. Maybe I'm trying to get these gains too hard, or maybe I'm not drinking enough water, or maybe it's the fact that my partner was talking about how they might have a cold and I was like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But I am feeling a little, I look sweaty. I'm feeling a little hot flashy. Maybe I'm going through menopause. May it be menopause. Okay. Chat says your perspective appears to be it's a lack of responsibility than laziness. Okay, listen. So the person in chat named True Alpha, which Habibi, what is this username? Out of all the usernames you could have chosen to tell me a little bit about yourself, why would True Alpha be your name? Right? Think about that. Lock in. Okay. You said, I agree on laziness as a construct is often used by capitalists to pretend poverty or wealthy is solely or even primarily the result of effort, which obviously is not true. Look, it was a troll on the incels. I'm a femme. Oh my God, that's even funnier. Okay. Wait, Chestnuts, before you go, Britt, I just want to know, I was trying to piss you off with the Taylor wreck. I just thought you'd like additional info. I think I think you meant to say I wasn't meant to, unless you were trying to piss me off. No. When I said, is she trying to piss me off? I didn't mean you, chatter. I meant Taylor. Is Taylor trying to piss me off? Wait. Pause. I didn't mean you. You were not the she I was referring to. I meant Taylor. Is Taylor trying to piss me off? Okay. Which is a joke, right? Okay. So when I talk about laziness, listen to what I'm saying about laziness. Laziness is a symptom of something else. Human beings are biological creatures on a planet. Everything we're doing has a reason why. And so if you are laying about the house and not doing something you should be doing, there's a reason why you're not doing it. You're not lazy. Laziness is a denial of the responsibility to see why you're doing what you're doing. To say something is lazy is to say, I myself will not inspect or interrogate this result of action. I'm just going to say what it is. It's intellectual dishonesty. You could say it's intellectual laziness. It's not laziness, though. It's usually a fear of looking in the mirror. It's usually a fear of answering, why am I acting this way? Right? Okay? Just as I know, I just didn't know your feelings on her. Oh, I'm just, I go back and forth with Taylor. I like her. And then I'm just like, why does she do this thing? And sometimes it's like, why does she collab with Destiny? Or why does she do this thing now? Or Taylor's trying, though. I try to give the benefit of the doubt to everybody. You know how it is. Chad said, question, if most people are on the TikTok commentary level right now, will eventually the majority of people move forward to channels like yours? No. It's always been this way. It's always been this way forever. That, when people say like, they say, oh, you're peasants. Habibi, we've always been peasants. I'm one of the peasants. We are not the bourgeoisie. We are not the elites. We are peasants. And peasants before look different to how they look now, but we're peasants. But yet, there's nothing inherently wrong with being a peasant. It only feels wrong because you think like, I'm more than that. Of course you are. You're only a peasant if you compare yourself to Jeff Bezos. Otherwise, you're just a human on a planet experiencing existence. And that's why I love philosophy, because only capitalism and these frameworks we exist in allow us to think of ourselves only as it relates to economics, instead of thinking about the value of our humanity as a whole, which is why veganism encourages you to consider the fact that we are breeding animals into existence to slaughter them. If you feel so bad about your life, you're like, I'm bred into existence just to get on a hamster wheel to pay taxes. Okay, yeah. But also, it's because of the way we treat all living creatures. We treat animals with a similar entitlement. And you think that's not going to impact how we treat other people? We beat children. We bring babies into the universe and then make them work for us. We bring babies into the universe and say, I'm a conservative. I believe in freedom most of all. Also, look, I have an arranged marriage for you. And look, I know where you're going to college. And look at all these things I've already set up for you. We bring babies into the universe. And then we have our dads who are fucking 6 feet tall and 300 pounds hit us with their bare hands. Or a belt. Or a shoe. Or a rod. And it's happening by the billions. By the billions. By the billions. It is not just 100,000 or 200, it's billions of people, right? Chat said, maybe I'm stuck because I feel it's a failure of my responsibility to the community versus myself. Not doing my dishes when I live alone hurts me versus I feel guilty if I had roommates. Yeah, I'm definitely a cleaner person now that I'm married. And I was definitely a more considerate person when I had a roommate. I will say sometimes, and also people come into our life to change us. I think if God forbid my partner died, I still think I would keep this level of cleanliness now that I have because I'm a new person now. So yeah, like I'm a much more organized person now that I'm married because we're so considerate of each other. And also we've changed, right? So the idea is like we are a combination of the people we meet. So the good news is like people come into our life to help us grow to be better people, you know? Chad said if philosophy is a path, some people stop at various points along the way because the incline ahead is overwhelming and the weather is perfect here, for sure. Like that's the thing is, I never want people to think there's a destination, but rather a relief. I want philosophy to relieve you of unnecessary burden and to fulfill your joy by giving you the right amount of responsibility, the right amount of, this is from a leftist perspective. How can I give up on humanity when I believe in its ability to be better? And it's the fact that I think it deserves comfort. How can I give up on the planet when I'm so grateful to be on her or in her, around her? How can I give up on the way, we can better our relationship with non-human animals if I know that without them, like, where would we be? Where would we be without these animals? Where would we be without all of this? So when we have these conversations about the way we exist in the world, what we're really asking ourselves is, do we know what we are, who we are, and what we're doing here? And that takes time. And also you change along the way. So you have to re-meet yourself. You have to kind of like, you don't find yourself when you're 15, though you do in some way. You find your 15-year-old self. And every time time changes, you find a different version of yourself. I can't wait, guys. I cannot wait to meet 45-year-old Brittany. I'm dying. I'm like literally like foaming at the mouth. I can't wait to know who she is. I cry thinking about it. Like, oh my God, who will she be? Like, who will she be? What will she be doing? Like, who is she? I can't wait to meet her. Because I won't be her. Like, I'm not going to be her at 45. I'm going to be somebody else. Yeah, I can't wait to meet her. Like, I'm so excited. I hope she's as great as I think she might be, And that's how I think that I look at my life, and I don't think most people see their life like that. I didn't either. I never used to think of my life that way. Because when you're young, okay, hold on, let me tell you this. Oh, this is a great example. Hold on, let me move my OBS over. Ugh. My head is pounding, but it's worth it for you. Like the stream, so I can do this for you. Okay, here we go. So here's Brittany. Okay. And this is Kid Brittany, okay? And Kid Brittany has gone on a journey. They became teen Brittany. Then they became adult Brittany. They became 20s Brittany. That. So like early adult Brittany. And then they became 30s Brittany, okay? And then they'll become 40s, okay? So for most of my life, this was the same person. It wasn't until I hit 30 that I became truly a completely different person. Because this Brittany in her 20s was still working through baggage she carried with her since she was like 8 years old. Okay? And so because I was still deconstructing and doing the work from 8 years old until I was 30, I was really struggling to see myself as a completely different person. Okay, until I hit 30, I really was this girly. Now, so far, I'm 37, and I think this Brittany is still the same. I think she's probably going to be this Brittany until about 40. And then I think about 42 to 45 is going to be another huge transition. That's my estimation. You know? I think so. I think by this era of my life, 42 to 45, I think I'm going to be on the other side of things. Like I'm always changing on micro, like I'm always changing little ways. But I think like when I look back at 20s Brittany, I mean, she's just like a physically different person. She's physically different. She looks literally different, right? I think when I see 42-year-old Brittany or 45-year-old Brittany, she's also going to physically look different. And then again at 60, and then I think again at 80, you know, something like that, you know? And that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited for really learning who I become and being grateful for this person today, because I'm doing so much work, just like Brittany in her teens and just like Brittany in her 20s did. I'm doing so much work for me in the most present now and putting everything in place. So when Brittany gets to 45, she looks back and goes like, thanks, bro, because you really handled that shit. The same shit I wish I had done 20 years ago. I'm trying to do that now. So when I get to 45, 35-year-old Brittany already did it. And I'm like, dope. Because, you know, sometimes it feels like when we get to certain ages, we're like, damn, I wish I started that at 25. I wish I started that at 32. I wish I started doing that at, okay, well, I do those things, right? And yeah, it definitely is a lot. Like it's definitely a game changer. And that's a part of being a different person too. Like Brittany in her 20s was spending everything she ever made, working 3 jobs, constantly in debt, struggling with everything. And Brittany in her 30s was like post-therapy, in middle of philosophical work, working really hard on family ties, putting down foundation for her life. And now this Brittany is all the benefits of that hard work. So 30 to 35 Brittany was all work to get to 37 Brittany. And I think 37 Brittany to 42 Brittany is probably going to be very similar, if that makes sense. And then all of the work I'm doing now will build into who I'll be after that. And then 50-year-old Brittany, I can't wait to meet her, you know? So don't, you know, start, you know, you're perfect the way you are, but change. You know, you're perfect the way you are, but change. Like laziness is such an interesting concept, but really there's a reason why it's happening. You know, I have a conversation. I always have this conversation with family, friends, anyone who comes to me for relationship advice. I have it in my own marriage to make sure that we know what we're consenting to. I will never accept that you are not doing something you're supposed to be doing for no reason. It is never an acceptable answer for you to say, I'm just doing it because. Okay, well, I'm just divorcing you because. I'm just stopping being your friend because. I'm just going to change jobs because. No, there is a reason. And you need to figure it out because, like, we're going to be the adults in the room. Okay, we're not in our 20s anymore. We are going to be the adults in the room, which means we have to have a reason. We have all of the tools and all of the privileges to know better. Okay, it's not just our age. It's also our education. It's where we've been. It's our life experience. What now? Now, the answer might be, oh, I'm in a nihilistic phase. I'm depressed. I have XYZ thing. Honestly, bro, I need to read more books. I need to meditate more. There's a lot of reasons why, but there is a reason. Oh, I'm not ready. To be honest, dude, I'm just like, that's where I'm at right now. Right? So, you know, when we're having these conversations, it is so personal. That's why I say, like, you know, when people say like, oh, you're thinking so individualistically, like, what about the collective? Both. You got to think about both. I know it's hard, but think about both. Don't just think about you individually. Because like these conservatives that are thinking individually, guys, they're being very selfish. They're not actually improving their lives, right? Some are, but you know, I am not willing. Okay, Britney, but not at the expense of the collective. The collective, but not at the expense of Britney. My marriage, but not at the expense of Britney. Britney, but not at the expense of the marriage. Indiana, but not at the expense of our home fund. Our home fund, but not at the expense of Indiana. Indiana has her own budget sheet in our budget. Because, you know, she costs money, you know what I'm saying? And she gets a little budget. Hers, to be fair, is limitless, basically. But, you know, she doesn't spend that much, you know. So take your time, but change. You're perfect the way you are. I can't wait for you to be different. I love you, but I'm still open with boundaries. I respect you, but I don't agree. I see your humanity, XYZ, you know? And that's what it is. Okay, girls, we did it. I'm going to let you go. My head is pounding. Drink your water, kids. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I got to drink my water. And also, chat said, why would you want menopause? I just want this biological body to do its business so I don't have to bleed anymore and I can't get pregnant, okay? I'm just trying to wish for good things. No pregnancies, no bleeding. Amen. Let's go, menopause. Okay, even though I know it's hard. I know it's hard. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow, though. Okay, I'll be back. Have a good day. Bye-bye.